two, one. Opening. Oh, hello, everybody. Oh, we got JD. Oh, Gigi. Edwin. Kelly with the lights. Nice. We got Amelia. We got Heather and Caitlin. Yes. So good. Oh my gosh. Yay! I love it. How are you guys doing? Edmund, how are you doing? Yeah, pretty good. Love it.
Yeah.
Nice. You on an adventure over there with that car?
Yeah, I'm always working during this time, so that's why I'm in the car. That's what I do for work. I drive.
Nice. I love it. So good. So amazing. Yeah. Good to hear your voice. Good to connect with you guys. All right. Today's gonna be super powerful. Nice. Yeah, Gigi, how you doing? You're nice. You're on an adventure with your mother for Mother's Day. So good. I love it. JD, how you doing? You see the eye roll? So good.
I'm feeling spacious and expansive, and I'm really looking forward to today's session.
Yes. So good. Amazing. Amelia, how are you doing out there? We got Amelia, we got Heather. Got it. Heather, how you doing? Good, Amelia. Doing great. I love it. Yay. So good. Okay, good. Kind of good to drop in before we dive in. We're going to do some pretty epic things. Today we've got a bunch of things. Heather, you're iffy. Aw, Heather, we're sending you some love, some encouragement, some connection, all the things that expand your system into receiving and bliss. Okay, so we are on day 5 of our emergence immersion. Today is our last day of emergence. Oh, and today is our rite of passage day. So traditionally, we have many rite of passages in society, like baptisms when we're born, and marriages when we finally fall in love with our life partner, baby showers when we literally give life to a new earth, essentially, and funerals when we die. And so this is like ingrained in our society. This is like, we have these rituals that kind of represent these transitions from one state of being to another overall. And obviously nothing is ever created nor destroyed. So we're always just changing form. We're always just moving into the next form. The caterpillar to the butterfly is changing form. And so a lot of these rituals and ceremonies involve preparation. And it's preparing, and usually it involves some sort of purification. And this purification is helping us kind of get ready for communicating with spirit and this supernatural state of being. And so part of what we're doing as we move along in these 7 rites of passages, moving all the way from the dark night of the soul, all the way to the wisdom keeper and the humble servant, is preparing ourselves to commune with God and to really receive this beautiful state of ultimate consciousness, which is oneness and being one with source and God. And it's all in every single rite of passage, we're stepping into a new version of that. We're stepping into a new version of trust and surrender. And we go deeper and deeper and deeper. And every single rite of passage is bringing us into more and more of seeing our light and seeing our wholeness, seeing our oneness, seeing our truth. And eventually that Ashtahe moment of really facing ourselves and looking ourselves right in the face and merging, being that's I am you. It's this divine union, literally, with spirit. And so, yeah, our belief is that we are the generation that gets to do this on a mass scale, right? And we get to go through this human experience awakened and aware. And maybe this is the first generation ever that will get to experience this type of stuff. And, unfortunately, a lot of our ancestors really didn't get this experience. They were really stuck in that Maslow's first hierarchy of need, that survival, and had to do jobs that they hated so they could just get by, and had to do things that they really didn't want to do with their lives. And we get to instead trust in the abundance of life and tap into our desires so strongly that we can't help but doing the thing that we're meant to do in the world. We can't help but literally leaning into our greatest dharma and our life mission. And we're the generation that really does get to do that, right? And really, we're so fortunate to be living in this time period. Like right now, the world is literally better than it's ever been in history. I think we can all agree, even though it's easy to say, oh, there's 5G towers and there's all these people trying to destroy the world. Truly, when we look around, it's better than it's ever been. And we get to we get to choose who we surround ourselves with, for the most part, we really get to choose, and we're really fortunate in that way. And so today we're going to be diving into initiations and rites of passages. And later we're going to have Mia Magic, and she's going to speak on this journey and specifically relating it to magic and manifestation and what it actually means to live as a modern day witch, and to bring that into our own lives and bring the ritual into our life experience, constantly. And not fear the word witch, right? There's so much, especially in the church, there's so much that is kind of like witches used to be persecuted. They used to literally, they have their voices shut off, and women have had their voices shut off for centuries. And so this is about reclaiming the part of ourselves that's really been lost in the world, reclaiming the part of our voices where we're no longer suppressed and, have to keep shut, and not speak up. And what we're doing is we're cutting off our intuition in that place. And so what we're allowing ourselves is now to access that intuition, access more of ourselves, and allow our voices to be heard, allow our intuition to come through. And that's where the magic and the manifestation comes, when we have that access to our intuition and our voice, where we're able to create through the power of our words. And so we're going to be experiencing that a little bit later today. So all throughout this week, we've had about 10 different speakers come and share their magic. We literally went on such a beautiful journey from the dark night of the soul to the soul searcher, to the eager explorer, to the emerging visionary, to the empowered leader, to the wisdom keeper. We went all throughout this beautiful journey. And lastly, we have the humble servant, which is stage 7. And this is about humility and service and stillness, really showing up in this God consciousness state of being. And today we're going to start off with a meditation to access some of that stillness and really allow ourselves to receive and really align and commune with the divine through a beautiful, beautiful experience. And before we dive into that, we are going to announce the winner for our grand prize, which ironically, so the grand prize winner is the person who has been the most enthusiastic during the festival, who has really asked questions, taken themselves off of mute, the most shown up, really have just given it their all. They've been posting on social media, sharing their downloads, really being all in. And our team loves giving this award because this is like, it's so special when the creation that we make is also received in that way. And so the winner of the grand prize will receive 12 months free inside of our Chrysalis community. So they get the entire month free of women's circles, men's circles, Chrysalis connection circles. They get 4 free mini courses. They get our replays, and a bunch of other things. They get to be part of book clubs and all the different things throughout the year. So this person is somebody who has really shown up in full vulnerability and really demonstrated the Ashtahang in every single way. And so the winner of this May 2023 Emergence Immersion Grand Prize is Claire Browning. So we will be giving this to her after the events. So Claire is the most participatory, and she did message me saying that she was going to be a little bit late. So it's perfect. Okay, so for this next part, we would love for you guys to get a little bit cozy. So if you are able to grab headphones and to maybe even lay down, I would recommend. And also grabbing a journal if you are able to. We're going to be doing something pretty unique and really special. And this is going to be something that's really going to allow us to tap into that frequency. So a journal, something really cozy, like I'm probably just going to lean back like this, but if you have the opportunity to lay down on something cozy, I'd recommend that. If you have headphones that you are able to put in, you can really hear a little bit more clearly. I definitely recommend that. And we're kind of going to go into a little, a beautiful meditation and a space for kind of just receiving and feeling. And yeah, so Elamon, I would love to invite you to actually kick off the meditation because you're literally so amazing at this every single time. And for everybody else, you can give us a thumbs up when you're ready and you're down. And obviously, when you're driving, so you don't have to do that part. But yeah, if you're able to kind of even just go into a space where you can fully receive the words coming through, that's what I would recommend. So yeah, we're going to go into a little meditation and it's going to be about 10 to 15 minutes. So just to kind of prepare, we're gonna go into a 10 to 15 minute, hey Tor, 10 to 15 minute kind of meditation. So if you're in a space where you can kind of, get cozy, that's what we recommend. Okay, Elamon, go ahead. You have the floor.
Well, I still see some shifting and people move in. So let these two settle down that I can see at least. Jessica Daly looks good. Gigi's almost there. Oh yeah, listen out. So as you get a little comfy, allowing your eyes to close, starting to breathe deeply through your nose and out your mouth. You have the space and desire, you can sigh it out on the exhales, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth, and kind of pulling back your energy, your awareness from anything that was happening before and anything that's going to happen next. Just bring it all right into your body, into this moment, into this time together. And taking a deep breath into your heart, tuning in with what's happening there today. Just allowing every little moment to bring you a little closer to presence. And then taking one more deep breath into your heart and seeing if that heart will open just a little bit more to receive this message, this guidance. And taking a deep breath all the way down to your belly, into your gut. And see if this part of your body will open a little bit to receive this gut, this intuition. And lastly, taking a breath up into your mind, up into your head. And seeing if your mind will open a little bit to receive. And once more, sinking down a little deeper into wherever you're sitting, feeling yourself heavy, feeling yourself relaxed and open. And really opening your whole mind, body, and spirit to receive a message through this guided meditation offering you're about to receive. Just asking for it, setting the intention that I will receive a message. I will receive what I need to hear. I will receive what is helpful for me in this moment. And we begin.
We stand at the threshold of a great dawning. Something deep within life is changing. An era is ending. And at the very core of creation, something new is being born. We are awakening from a long collective sleep. An in vitro dreaming deep within the womb of our Mother Earth. Now is the time of a great shifting of cosmic wheels, which will result in the reformation of our Earth and trigger a radical shift in consciousness. A galactic tidal wave of light is descending upon the Earth, activating the highest potential, raising the frequency. Reality is being reformed, redefined. The activation of new neural patterns will trigger new perceptions, new information, new impulses, and the recalibration of DNA. Open yourself to these high dimensional frequencies. Let go. Love each other in these coming times. Be kind to each other. Gather in community. Share yourself. Live your dream. Live your heart. Open yourself. Be prepared for the challenges to come. The dark times of chaos and upheaval. We will experience a dynamic recalibration of electromagnetic fields and Earth systems on a global scale. Stay present. Stay calm and centered. Try not to judge what is happening. Surrender to the process. Hold firm in the knowledge of what is being birthed. The process intensity. Stay in the heart. Stay connected to beloved friends and family. Remember that this too shall pass, and is a necessary purification, a great purge of all that is not in resonance with what is being born in us. All will be redeemed and reformed in miraculous ways. Chaos will become peace, and sorrow will become joy. Trust with love. The butterfly is a marvelous demonstration of the power within trust and vulnerability. And in the miracle of metamorphosis. After all, what is a butterfly, if not the flowering of a caterpillar beyond its wildest dreams? Emerging from the womb of the chrysalis, the butterfly discards its restrictive silken shell to inherit a magical new world of flowers, breezes, and sunshine. A world of freedom and delight and the celebration of its divine nature. Spreading her wings for the first time, she has no idea whether she can fly. She simply opens her wings in perfect confidence and is effortlessly conveyed into the spiral dance of graceful flight. And all that then remains is the joyous participation in the divine ecstasy of creation. As you turn your light inward and witness your true nature, you become an empty mirror and go beyond beliefs or doctrines, dissolving the veils. The formless takes form. Going or coming, we are in the right place. As the veils are lifted, we will perceive worlds of unimaginable beauty. Self-transforming astral worlds of light will shine down and interpenetrate the density of matter, making it translucent, less dense, and more permeable to our thoughts and feelings. Multidimensional reality and the interconnectedness of all things will be as clear as sunlight. And just as the light is not separate from the sun, and the wave is not separate from the ocean, so shall we realize our connection to the source and recognize ourselves in each other as one vast ocean of love and light. Let the divine recognize the divine. Lights will find other lights. And as the spark ignites within you, so it will ignite in others. In a majestic radiance of consciousness, and set the world alight in its magnificence. A new world without fear. Without war, without greed. In the safe custodianship of an awakened species. Manifesting peace with love, light, and celebration. May the Divine Mother bless all sentient beings as her children. May the Ascended Ones bless mankind. May religion be swept away by the revelation of what we are. May the children of the earth understand that this is to be a birthing place of a new humanity. The birthing of a new man, utterly discontinuous from the past. Released, transformed, metamorphosed into a multi-dimensional being. Conscious, whole, and free.
And you can slowly open your eyes and take out your journal. And based on what you just heard, I would love for you to describe what this new earth reality looks like for you. What does it look like or feel like to step into this new earth? And if you have a journal, I recommend writing this in your journal, because when we hold a vision, because we are the universe, we're communicating with the universe the type of world that we want to see, the type of world that we want to live in. We're aligning ourselves to a better reality. And we all know, based on what we just heard, that we are stepping into a new earth, and something deep is being birthed. A new shift is awakening. And I'd love for you to also write what it looks like for you to live your dream life within this earth. So if you have this vision for this new earth, like for me, it's living in community. It's raising children in community and being surrounded by people who are conscious. They eat from the earth. We grow our own food, pesticide free. It's not about mass production. It's about optimization of the human body. We give birth orgasmically versus through force. We allow life to come into this earth gently versus with a light and a slap on the ass, literally. We live among the earth. You know, what does that look like for you? And how does your dream life fit into that? What do you want for this earth? And what do you want for your own dream life? What does it actually look like? And it's super important to hold that frequency and to be clear with what you actually desire instead of just falling into, well, this is how it is. This is how it's always been. And there's nothing else that it could be. And lastly, who do you have to become in order to align with the life that you want to live? So knowing that this is the dream new earth and feeling your dream life within that earth. Who do you need to become in order to align to the life that you really want to live? And I'm going to give you a few minutes to write this down.
I don't know how it all plays out, but I know it does. For some reason I wrote this down, just because I know change is gonna come my way. I could feel it in the air today. Well, ever since I was young, I've realized there was a fire deep within, and I'd wonder why. So I would look up to the sky at night, ponder if the thoughts I had were right. And now I know that everything inside this mind makes up this soul of mine, and swim on in that cosmic sea of ours. And everything that we could dream, not all of it's make-believe.
We're going to take another minute to write down what this looks like for you. This dream life, this new earth reality. Then we're going to take a share for someone who really feels it, who wants to share this out loud.
Now that I'm all grown up, I can finally see that everything I'd hoped to have is a part of me, and it has been that way all along. From the galaxies around to this song, so I'll remember everything inside this mind, what makes up
Okay.
this soul of mine.
I'd love to call somebody forward to share out loud. Who would like to share? Yes, go ahead.
So if you can't hear well with these headphones, I probably would not want to share. Can everybody hear okay?
Yeah.
It's good.
Yep.
Wow, this is a powerful meditation. Eloan, you just knocked it out of the park with this one. Thank you. So, yeah, I had a big download about New Earth and everything. It's heavy in my mind, and not like heavy, a thing heavy, but it's like really big and juicy and huge in my mind. I'll read now. My perceptions of New Earth are rich with intimacy, touch, and joy. As my frequencies are resonating, I am surrounded by loving community. We live among the earth. I envision a place near Gulf of Mexico in the land of Ekbalam. This is the black jaguar. I build a home with visions of my beloved. She is a great teacher and sacred adventurer. We share our deepest devotions with redundancy, with ourselves, each other, and our lovers.
Yay! Can we all take ourselves off of mute and give Michael an ashe for sharing? Ashe!
Yay.
Shay.
Yay, Michael.
Amazing. I love that. Can we take one more share? Who feels called to share? Who has kind of like a vision that feels really potent, really strong, like it's really coming through? Does anyone feel called? It's okay if not, but yes, JD.
I envision living in a world where we express ourselves fully with no shame and no one suffers in silence, and people don't use their will to take their own lives because we're all connected as one and we don't leave any man behind.
Thank you for sharing, love. Can we all give JG an ashe?
Ashe. That was beautiful.
It was so beautiful. And in your journals, I would love for you to write what you need to say yes to right now in order for you to step one step closer to this dream reality that you want to be living. If there's something that you need to be saying yes to in your life. And equally, if there's something that you need to say no to and something that you need to let go of. And we're going to have Jessica guide us into a beautiful prayer to ignite this energy and ground this into our being.
Give a little bit of space for people to wait a little longer. All right, calling into this beautiful container in this space, all of the angels and the guides that walk with us, that hold us, that believe in us, that have protected us, calling in all of our ancestors, calling in all of the beautiful, benevolent frequencies that carry us forward into our dharmic path. May they be here with us today, holding us as they always do, reminding us that we are protected, we are supported, we are loved. And asking them to help us collectively to anchor in a deeper vision of what humanity can create, of the expansion of truth, of what humanity is meant to be, walking in tandem with nature, of co-creating community that feels like family, that is about the evolution and elevation of the individual and the collective, about walking in so much perfect unity with nature, that we are one, that we recognize ourselves in a tree, in a plant, in an animal, and we live in perfect harmony. Calling in this new earth frequency where we become so connected to all that we walk with so much grace. We walk in such a good way that our words are kind and our actions are compassionate. And our love and our expansion of our hearts is infinite and boundless. Calling in true clarity, calling in true devotion to every being that passes by as if they were the beloved. And seeing ourselves as the beloved. The infinite, incredible reflection of truth that divinity and God made us to be. Calling in this perfect frequency of higher power, calling in all of our support to help us walk into this dharmic path that is the evolution of humanity and mankind, that is where we are headed, that is the next step in the evolution of what we are doing and creating on this earth. May we be supported to be the vessels and the leaders and the teachers and the students of this journey. May we be supported in our path and our dharmic mission to step into greater and greater leadership and power and magnificence and resonance with our truth. May we become the message through our lives, through the imperfections that are actually perfect messages, through the beautiful walk that we get to have on this earth as an example of what is possible when we drop the veil, when we show up in vulnerability, when we show up with our hearts open and wide to love the world from a place of true and devoted love. Calling in all of the frequencies here to support us on this mission, on the humanity's evolution mission, so that we can become in resonance with truth. Please and thank you for every bit of support that we have already received as humans, as individuals, and as a community. Thank you so much for the abundance that's been brought into our lives, for the people that have stood by us, believed in us, and loved us through every single up and down. May we send so much gratitude to those beings and those frequencies and those energies and every piece of this journey. And more than anything, we thank you for all of the things that have come into our lives, for ourselves, for our hearts, for our resiliency, for this beautiful body that we contain, our spirit inside, for all of the journeys that led us to this exact moment right here. This exact beautiful moment where we get to sit here in community, in prayer, in remembrance, and in manifestation. Because where two or more are gathered, God listens. And God is here right now with us, and we are God. We are all God. So may we call in this frequency, this new earth frequency together, and may we know that our dream lives and our true selves are already here and now with us. We are already those people embodied, believing it, knowing it, feeling it, trusting it. Here we are. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, all of these energies and frequencies. May we step into this next evolution with love. Thank you. Gracias. Matyosh. Amen. Now.
So beautiful. Amazing. Okay. So if you are available to turn your camera on, I would love to see your face, especially because the speaker that we have today is super, super, super special. Yes, we have full body chills from that prayer and that beautiful meditation. So amazing. Thank you, Jen. That was so, so beautiful. And it's really helpful if we can feel your energy and kind of see you. And I know that also Mia Magic, who is going to be our speaker for today, she definitely works with energy. And so if you are available and you are able to turn your camera on, it would be so amazing to be able to see you and experience you and feel you. And it can also help her with that. So obviously today we are going into some deep places. We just did a meditation. We went into deep prayer. So today is obviously stage 7 of our 7-stage journey of awakening. And we've been going on this roadmap through the 7 stages. And after every single stage, there's a rite of passage and an initiation. And after stage 7, the rite of passage is actually rebirth. And so we get to be reborn again and go back into the cycle in a spiral. And so the journey really never ends. And it's beautiful because, you know, it's also like the thing we fear the most in life is death. And we fear endings. And every single ending is also a new beginning. And so we get to remind ourselves continuously that this is a constant journey and we're always able to grow and evolve. And there's no rush to the finish line, you know? There's no rush. We don't have to sprint our way to, you know, this place, you know, that we want to call heaven. Heaven is a state of being. Heaven is here right now. We can invoke heaven into a single breath. It's not about a place. It's not about rising into this like ceiling. You know, it's not about like living in the sky. It's this, if you haven't noticed, this entire journey is about being in the body. It's not about leaving the body. It's not about constantly getting out of the body. It's about being in the body. This is the way that we awaken and evolve to the feminine. You know, this is what we're calling in society. You know, being so in touch with the physical body and allowing ourselves to really connect to that energy and bridging the lower chakras to the upper chakras, not just like letting go of the lower chakras and just, you know, evolving out of that. You know, it's about being whole. It's not about just going up and out. It's literally about expansion through all of the chakras. Yeah. And that's how we really awaken our full system and our full body. And so today's mantra is, I surround myself with people who help me grow. And this is pretty important. I don't know if you guys have people in your life that are like big expanders for you, meaning people that you've met in your life who are either your initiation moment, meaning they initiate you into the next stage of your journey, into your awakening, you know, or people who are just expanders. They expand you into people, places, things, experiences that you didn't even know could exist, right? And so today is about really thinking about the people in our lives who are expanders, the people who've made the greatest impact, the people who've really allowed us to evolve and even inspired us to evolve, and just bringing in gratitude for those people. And really like focusing our energy so that every single person in our life becomes that, so that we're literally surrounded by people who help us grow consistently, so that there's not a single person in our life where when we you know, hang out with them, we feel drained, we feel exhausted, we're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to do this again. You know, it's like, how do we consistently surround ourselves with people who are in the frequency of growth and expansion versus contraction and death, right? How do we expand how do we expand ourselves through the people around us and continuously being that Ashtahe, knowing that the world is a reflection of you, right? And if you really want your dream life to come out at every single moment, start surrounding yourself with the mirrors that you want to become. And every single person in the world becomes the exact reflection that you want to be. This is also the power of manifestation. This is how we manifest our dream life. It's not just about, you know, it is about us, and it's also the mirror of us, because everything in this world is a mirror, and it's super important to grow in an environment where we can thrive, to plant ourselves in a place with water and nutrition and sunlight so that we can actually sprout and we can grow and we can evolve in a healthy environment. And this is the journey that we're really embarking on as we're growing and as we're evolving. And, you know, a lot of people, especially when they go into the chrysalis and they go into the eager explorer journey, right? They want to hide. and they want to be alone and they want to go through the growth alone. You know, we get a lot of people, like a lot of our clients and our people that are going through this journey, they say, you don't want to be around me right now. You know, I'm in a really, you know, I don't want to affect you. I don't want to be, I don't want to, you know, I don't want, you don't want to be around me right now. And there's also a power in really being raw and authentic and allowing yourself to be surrounded by people who do help you grow and not needing to hide that part of yourself. So it's also a two-way street, right? It's also not shaming yourself for where you're at in your process and being like, wow, you know, I don't want to bring other people down, right? It's not that either. We're saying, how do you consistently show up, you know, as your authentic self and surround yourself with expanders, right? There's certain people in your life that can really be that expander for you. And it's super important to have that, you know? And maybe you have somebody right now in your mind who you're thinking like, wow, this person has been an expander for me. And I would just send that person some gratitude. Send that person to thank you. Just thank you for being in my life. Thank you for being this expander. And maybe you have multiple, you know, maybe you've been on like a rite of passage journey yourself. You know, I can list a few people in my life who've actually been my initiation human, where I literally think God assigned that person to be my initiatory human, right? And in 2021, I had that experience, and I literally went into a journey where the universe said, this person was actually assigned to you. There was like a contract with this human to actually initiate me into my next phase, into my next evolution. And it was super painful because I was literally looking my deepest shadow right in the face. And it was so challenging. And that's what I needed to actually evolve. I needed to slay the dragon. And it was my own dragon, right? And we all have the dragons in our lives that, you know, are there to also help us initiate. And, you know, dragons, just as a side note, dragons are also the protector spirit. You know, it's like the protector of the world. And yeah, we get to acknowledge that, you know, our Ashtahe moments are here for a reason. Every single person that is brought into our life is brought into our life for a reason. You know, it's to help us love ourselves deeper and to help us grow, right? And we all know that, like, you know, plants grow in soil, right? They grow in soil, and sometimes they have to like break through the ground and the earth, and in order to really blossom. And there's some friction and some resistance in that process. And so there is that element of really breaking through. And so this whole journey is about turning our breakdowns into breakthroughs and really moving through that resistance to get to that place where we can blossom. And so, yeah, I really just encourage that whether you're, you know, in the place where you're seeking expanders, or where you're in the place where you're like, I don't really want to be seen like this, or I really don't want to, you know, I have shame around what I'm going through. I just want to remind everybody that we all experience the same emotions, and we all go through challenging journeys. And it is so crucial to do this journey in community and not do it alone. And I don't know how many times I have to say it to remind people, because there's so often where we just really want to hide and be alone. And, you know, it's good to take time for yourself and process. But if you're consistently alone and you're like, this is my only way of doing it, this is the only way that I can awaken, like I have to do it alone, there is a part of the journey where it's actually more supportive, having the mirrors of reflection in your life and being able to validate or reflect back the experience that you're having with somebody else. I'm just going to throw that out there for anyone who is currently sitting there being like, wow, I feel like I have to do this whole journey alone, just to remind you that you actually don't. And it is super important. And this is really how we expand. And so, yeah, I really, you know, you had this like beautiful meditation and this beautiful prayer and this journey of kind of really feeling that in your body, feeling, you know, your dream life, feeling this new earth that you want to create. And this is the experience of evolution, right? This is the experience of metamorphosis, our own personal metamorphosis, our own personal transformation. And this is what we're calling in, into our container. And every single week, being in this place of being held in community by people who really believe in you, people who want to help you grow, people who have also gone through this journey, people who really believe in you, and they're connected to the truth because they know your journey. They know the reality of, the belief systems that you carry, the journey that you've been through, and they see you, at your core and at your vulnerability. And yeah, oh my God, so amazing. And I just got Mia enter the space. And Mia, I am so excited to have you here. This is the perfect segue because Mia's going to be talking about manifestation and magic. And really, as we're walking through this 7-stage rite of passage journey, we get to actually embody this frequency as we're going throughout the entire experience. And Mia is a super special soul. We met in 2018, and she has gone on an incredible journey since then, and probably many rite of passages herself. And so now we get to go through this journey with Mia here and officially welcome her into this space, into Emergence. So with that being said, Mia, thank you so much for being here, and welcome to Emergence.
Thanks, Queen. So good to be here. Bless. Hi, everybody. I would love to hear from you. I know you all were just in a meditation. I'd just love to hear from you in the chat, like what came up for you, what that meditation was like for you, what that experience, brought forward within you. And I'm going to touch on some of the important things around initiations, rites of passage. Really, the biggest piece that's so important that we've all just forgotten is how deep ceremonial rites and initiations were once just like a common integral part of our society. So in any time, like even when a child, right, would kill its first animal, which, I know some of us are probably vegan and vegetarian and plant-based, but like we used to have to eat meat. You survived on meat. And so when a child would kill its first animal, that was an initiation. That was a rite of passage. There was a celebration. When a girl would get her first bleed. In the Dene tradition, in the Navajo tradition, still to this day, they celebrate her for a week. Everybody waits on her hand and foot. She gets parties. Like it's this whole celebration. Wow, you can create life now. You are a woman now. And to just think about that, right? Like all of us as women and even men, with the way that we've been, men have been taught to relate to a woman's moon cycle and moon time. Like, can you imagine men just like serving you and saying, welcome to being a woman? And then all the women like just celebrating with you and dancing with you and everyone like painting and adorning you. And now, when you think about it, the rites of passage that we have are like a high school graduation ceremony. That's usually like a party kind of, and like you hear a little talk and it's kind of like, great job, like go forth, just learn how to be enslaved by society and like work at a job that you hate and just like toil away until you die. It's like, cool, thanks so much. Like, great. Sounds like a really awesome way to spend this one life I've got, or this iteration of it. And then you're just thrust out into the world. More often than not, some people stay and keep living with their families, but sometimes it's like go to college or go get a job. And all of a sudden you've been like mostly taken care of and reliant upon 2 other people or one person, like your parent or parents. And then all of a sudden you're just like off and on your own. And that is a huge time where mental illness presents itself that has never been present before, like schizophrenia and psychopathic, sociopathic behaviors, because like we were being taken care of and then like something shifts and all of a sudden you're just like responsible for yourself and like your mind is fucking blown and you don't know how to take care of yourself and it's terrifying. And so when we think about rites of passage in the history of the earth, we have never had so little acknowledgement for the shifting and the transitional chapters that we rise and grow through in our lives. And when you think about like baby showers for a woman, right? You're going from maiden to mother. You get like gifts and you play games and it's so cute, but like, who is talking to you about the difference? Again, kind of that opposite experience of going to college. Who's talking to you about the difference between being a totally sovereign person and doing whatever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want, and like living your best life, and all of a sudden having full responsibility for another human being who is going to be completely reliant on you? And I'm sure any of you who have children, like, you know that that is a big transition. Like my sisters that I've watched, I don't have children yet myself, but even just having cats, like I'd only had family pets and now I have like 2 cats, and like I can't just like up and leave anytime I want, because like I got to take care of them. It's like not even remotely a comparison to like the 24/7 care of a child, but it's something that we just have forgotten. And so who I am, again, of course, Chelsea introduced me, but my name is Mia Magic, and I teach people about reclaiming their power, sovereignty, and magic in whatever way that looks like. I love that we've got such a diverse group and like all genders. And this is really the epitome of what I share, is that everyone's magic is unique. It's going to look different. It's going to feel different. Nobody has to have the same power as anyone else. Some people want big followings and big audiences and are meant to share on big stages. And like some people are meant to share with their family. Some people are meant to share with themselves. Some people are meant to share with their relationship with the earth. And so each of these like rites of passage, they're going to look different for all of us. Some of us have had more or less than others. Some of us have existed. You know, I met this little girl recently whose mom did celebrate her when she got her first moon. And I just thought that was so profoundly beautiful. And so my work is really about, I have a program called Witch School. I have all different kinds of witchy magical offerings, because I was really just like a deeply fantastical child and I wanted to like live in my fairy tales. And it turns out that the world didn't want me to think that I could do that, but they were fucking wrong, and I can. And it's been working really well for me. And it has been so magical, just giving myself permission to believe that magic is real and then finding out that that is in fact the truth. So these rites of passage are very important as you're like embarking upon your spiritual journey. You're going to figure out what these initiations are going to look like for you. And for me, I want to share a couple of little stories and tidbits before we dive into our practice today. Or you guys have been doing practices, your practice with me. But when I met Chelsea in 2018, like she said, about 5 years ago, I was going through an initiation. I was in a rite of passage and I didn't know that. I had been called to Bali. I wanted to go there. I actually like thought maybe I was going to move there. I was leaving LA. I had just had this really big, they were like going to make this whole show about me. It was going to be like about real witchcraft, and it was so cool. And then it turned into like Real Housewives witchcraft. And it was like not aligned for me. It did not feel right. And so when that chapter closed, I just wanted to get out of LA, and I thought I could run away from my problems. Turned out they just wait for you when you get home. But I went on this adventure, and Bali actually didn't resonate with me. There's trash everywhere. I have a profound relationship with the earth. When we're talking about magic and manifestation, lots of people are going to tell you lots of things about it. Mine is about aligning with the epitomic expression of abundance, which is Mother Earth and nature. She is constantly growing. She's constantly making love with herself, right? Like the hummingbirds and the bees and the butterflies, like sticking their long, languid tongues into all of the flowers. Like, she is the true nature of abundance. And in Bali, people don't take care of nature. They throw plastic and trash everywhere. And it was really challenging for me to be there. So this place that I'd never been, that I was like, oh, I'm going to go here and I'm going to move and it's going to be so great. It just didn't feel like that. It was really hard. And one of the pivotal pillars, I think, not only of that experience, but of any rite of passage and of any initiation in our lives, is listening to our inner wisdom and guidance system. I like to call it our intuition. It's actually the title of my book that comes out in January. So I heard this little intuition that was like, you got to go somewhere else. Like, you got to find something. And I went to this tattoo parlor. My friend was like, I'm going to get my head tattooed. Want to come hang out and watch? And I don't know why I said yes. Like, in what universe would I be like interested in watching that? I don't know. But something in me was like, okay, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. And I went. The dude has every other inch of him tattooed. So it was like the only place left. And I went and I met this girl. We were all like made at this beautiful ceremony, and it was really intentional. And she was playing the sound bowls and I was singing. And when he finished, she said something to me about like, oh, how are you liking Bali? And I was like, actually, it's been really challenging for me. Like, this isn't what I thought it would be. And I said the thing about nature, and she goes, you would love Mullumbimby. And I'd never heard that word before, but something in me knew. Like, that's the place that has the rite of passage that I'm looking for. That's the place that is holding the initiation for me that I've been seeking. Just in the word, Mullumbimby. Like, okay, whatever. Turns out it's in Byron Bay in Australia. It's a pretty short flight from Bali. It was already like, halfway across the world from California. Great. And I called my one friend who lives in Australia, like good friend, good enough to call and be like, hey, I'm coming to Australia. Just so happens she grew up in Mullumbimby. How the fuck would I have known that? But she's there, and she's got a compound. Her family's like one of the wealthiest families in Australia. And they gave me a whole house and a Range Rover to myself to just like live my best fucking life in Australia. And I went there for 6 weeks, and it turned out that her mom had been in a real coven, like meeting every 2 weeks, real fucking coven for 30 years. With like an official high priestess and with all these different ways of crafting and doing rituals. And so I got to live there and be taught and be held not only by the land and this incredibly magical place and family and teacher and waterfalls. Like, you can go on hikes with like 20 waterfalls in them. I mean, that part of Australia is just like, it's the only part of Australia I've been to. I've been back a couple of times because it's just so magnificent. And that was the initiation for me. And if I hadn't listened, that never would have happened. And I went through the hard shit in Bali and the challenges and the like, yeah, Bali like kicked my ass. My God, I was so sick the whole time. It was just like not fun, And if I had not said, oh, I feel something in that word. And there's this Roman concept called genius loci, which means spirit of place. And it's about the energy that places have, the elementals, right? Like the spirits of the land, whether I just got back from Ireland, like yesterday, and the fairies and the dragons in Wales. I mean, all over the British Isles, there's lots of dragons everywhere, but the mermaids, the selkies, there's all these different elemental beings. And if I had not allowed myself to just listen to that one little inkling of, wow, that word, Mullumbimby, like that just feels like a yes, like I need to go and change my plans and do that. I have found that that is in fact the key to us receiving the initiations that we want in the ways that we need. Right? Like you can't always get what you want, but you always get what you need. And sometimes it's really uncomfortable and it kind of sucks. And you're like, oh God, like, could this just have been a little bit easier or like more fun or a little more pleasant? And sometimes no, fortunately sucks, but no, it can't. But when you listen to your intuition, when you receive those little tiny pieces, and especially for me, like genius loci or the spirit of place, like the specific places that hold these codes for my soul, which I believe is a big piece for all of us when we're looking at our own initiations, traveling through dark nights of the soul, going through the rites of passage, because life is going to throw you rites of passage, right? Since we don't have them, we don't have these ceremonial rituals that are normal in our culture anymore. I mean, that's not true. Some cultures do still have them, but like modern Western colonized culture doesn't have them anymore. We like made them illegal. We ripped First Nations of peoples of the Americas out and put them into, these like horrible schools. And we did this in Africa and we did it in all of the islands. We outlawed hula and the Hawaiian language. Like it's horrific what has been done to the cultural magic and ancient wisdom traditions of our planet. But there are still people who are holding on to them. And if we find that thread within our own journey of like, what's going to be the rite of passage for me? Or where is the initiation living for me? What is that one word or that one place that I keep seeing signs or symbols or people keep mentioning to me that I need to go to? Like that I need to find the code in my soul, some little activation for the blueprint of my spirit that is going to help make me more of who I am, that is going to initiate me into a greater version of myself. And so that's a big piece from my perspective that I think we negate, or we like, you know, kind of brush aside a lot. And especially when it comes to finances, you know, it can be hard. It can be scary to be like, oh, well, I'm going to go on this trip. But one of the things that I have also found is that the goddess will sometimes guide me through like the cheap plane flight. She's like, oh yeah, this is exactly where you're supposed to go. And it's somehow like only $600 and that's all you've got in your bank account. And like, you need to do it. And, you know, the little Google flight thing, like, wow, this is the lowest price we've seen in 3 months or whatever, you know? And you're like, damn, this was $3,000 when I looked last time. Like, that happened to me at the end of that Australia trip. It was $5,000 to get home to LA, like the day that I was like trying to get back to LA. I was like, shit, I don't even have $5,000. Like, I'm not going to spend that on one plane flight. So instead, I was like, oh, I think I'm going to go to New Zealand. It was $200 to get to New Zealand. And I traveled all over the South Island of New Zealand. I did a whole road trip with myself for a month. And I got back to LA for $500 a month after. Like, there are magical things when you listen. And I manifested so much money in New Zealand because the spirit of that place was just blessing me and granting my wishes, and like just over and over again, like giving me all of these gifts every time I would listen. Oh, I got to go to these glowworm caves. Oh, the activity is really expensive, but like, fuck it. I'm going to do it. Like, okay, I'm going to go and do this underground cave thing in the glowworm tunnel on this river. And then I like get a call from a person who wants to be a client, like as soon as I get out. It's all about listening. It's all about the alignments. It's all about finding the choice that becomes the initiation. Because if the greater societal culture isn't going to create initiations and rites of passage for us, then the universe will, and our choices will. And we have the opportunity to say, okay, the version of me that doesn't listen, feels disempowered, like I can't afford it, makes up stories about being unworthy of whatever this is, like, oh, it'll never work out, fear of success, I'll be rejected, blah, blah, blah. Do I want to be that version? Because I know what those choices look and feel like. I know what it, like, I know the outcome of that. I've been spinning on that hamster wheel for however long. What would it look like to make a different choice? And the difference between those experiences, the choices you've always made and the choices you've never made before or never felt worthy of or never felt courageous enough to make, that's the fucking initiation right there. And that's self-guided, and you can make those changes in your life. And that is where my life has truly changed. And so something that I was just speaking about with Eloan, who is helping run all the things here, just before this call began, he was talking about, or he said like, oh, I hope that you can help people, you know, be living their Dharma like you're living your Dharma. And I hope you can help people do that with, you know, effortlessness and ease. I was like, yeah, I carry those codes. And so one of the last things that I just want to share with you all about this is that that year, that 2018 into 19, after Chelsea and I met in Bali, and then I did my stint in Australia and then my stint in New Zealand, and then started making money, and then like everything changed. And I went to this Beltane festival in Ireland that I actually just got back from. I went back 4 years later because my entire life has changed in those 4 years. My whole business has blossomed in a way I could never have imagined. It has been fucking effortless to make so much money and to be doing exactly what I'm meant to be doing, to support people finding their magic, and to be like the modern Professor McGonagall, you know, like a little younger, like she's got plenty of time to build up to that. And I would never have thought that was possible. But sometimes there are these like group rites and group initiations and group ceremonies. And so I felt called. I knew I left that. I went back to Australia a few months later for Dr. Joe Dispenza's retreat. And I finished that and I flew to Ireland, and I was going to go to this Beltane festival and do my thing there. And it's these massive bonfires that have been being lit, speaking of like rites of passage and ceremonies, for 7,000 years by the Celtic Druid people on this royal center of Ireland, the Hill of Ishnok. And I went there and I threw into the flames like everything I was getting rid of. Take this away from me. I am ready to rise. like the phoenix from the ashes. Please allow me to be reborn so that I can serve my sacred medicine on this planet. And I did. And when I got back from that experience, everything fell into place. I put on this iconic witch hat that became this symbol for my brand and is the single, like, I give it like full credit for everything in my life happening. Because yeah, like people saw this thing that has been associated with evil for however long, like really just because of the media, but it's the shape of the womb turned upside down. It's an antenna, it's extending your auric field, and it changed my life. People saw this like pretty, eloquent, smart girl wearing this symbol of evil and being sweet and being kind and being a healer and being a guide and being a teacher and being willing to learn and being willing to be wrong and like being on a journey. And it changed everything for me. And I found out I mean, God, I could just go on and on and on, but so many things. I met my partner. I'd been celibate for 3 years. I was in that phase when I met Chelsea. And I met my partner just like a month or two after putting on the witch hat, like manifested a massive, beautiful home for myself. And then within a few months after that, started witch school, started a business that did run effortlessly. I didn't have to do anything. I showed up as myself. I stayed in my zone of genius. I had one full-time employee and like one virtual assistant and one personal assistant. And it was just making waves in every way. And it was absolutely effortless. I was probably working like 3 hours a week. And that phase has completed. And there are also times where the initiation is going to ask more of you. And that's the phase that I'm in now. I got a book deal and turns out they like me so much, they want 4 projects. So it's not one book, not 2 books, but 2 books and 2 Oracle decks with Hay House, which was my dream publisher. So it was like so amazing and so great. And it's a lot of work to run a business, be in a relationship, try to have friendships, write books when you're not actually a writer, you're a speaker and a content creator, and you don't actually feel super comfortable writing and didn't actually want to write anything in the first place. You just wanted like the credibility that everyone tells you you need to have. So you have to write a book. And I am not working 3 hours a week anymore. I tell you what, like the major initiation that I am in right now is working so many hours and like just sitting in front of my computer doing so much, because this is the initiation that my Dharma is asking of me now. It was so easy. It was so effortless. I do want people to believe that that is possible. You can make so much happen without having to do that much. You align to the vibration, you step into the archetype, you believe wholeheartedly, and you stay delusionally devoted to that vision. Delusional optimism. People all kinds of stuff. They're like, Mia, like my parents, get a regular job. No, I'm doing what I'm going to do. It's going to work. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to keep being committed to this because I believe it's possible. And I know it's what I am divinely designed and destined for. And I didn't give up. And it worked. I built this massively successful company and all of these things. And we'll get to all of the questions, Tori. We're going to have a whole little section for Q&A. On like fairy dust and like magic. Like I built the whole thing on magic. I couldn't believe it, but it happened. And now after 3 years of incredibly beautiful, basically effortless, massive abundance, peace, freedom, and not just financial abundance, but like abundance of opportunities and friends and growth on social media. And like, I had some of the highest engagement of any influencer on Instagram for a while, like, which my team told me about. I would never have known that, but they were like, we did a whole market research study and like, you're one of the top performing for the size of your audience, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, cool. Like, great. Wow. I'm just sharing what I care about. And I'm just sharing what feels real to me. And I'm sharing what feels authentic. Then of course the goddess told me to unfollow every single person, and I was following 0 people and my engagement tanked. But you know, it's like, these are the things you have to listen. You have to do what is asked of you by your soul, by God, by the universe, in whatever your definition of that thing is, that power that creates all of life. And we're going to dive into that here in a minute. And now I'm at a different stage. There is a peak on this mountain. I've been like kind of on this like dope plateau. You know, you like see how mountain goats are just like climbing across the sides of mountains, like not phased at all by these like massive cliffs beneath them. They're just like la 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 with their little hooves. I'm like, how do you climb on rocks with hooves? I don't know, but they're just doing it. And that's what my life has been like: nimble, agile, stable, sure-footed, like not a problem, got this. Very like Capricorn, on the mission, taking the baby steps. La 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 la. I'm a Gemini, so that's a hard energy for me to align with, but it's been what the goddess has gifted me with over these last couple of years. And now she's like, girl, I need your fucking sacrifice. I need your blood, sweat, and tears. Are you willing to step into this rite of passage as a CEO, this next initiation and iteration of who you are in your service, in your dharma? And what am I going to do? Be like, nah, witch, I'm good. Like, I'm going to just stay here where I am. No, like, absolutely. Use me. I am here to be your vessel. That is what I'm here for. Like, let me speak the voice of Mother Earth all day, every day. And it's taken a lot out of me. I just want to be honest with you guys, because I think that some people and like influencers, like, you know, you make it look like, oh, highlight reels, cool. Now, like, I'm in a phase where I'm like deep in the tilling of the soil, and I am the fucking plow horse, like pulling my life forward and towards its next expression and iteration. And it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So just know, like, whatever it is that you're creating, whatever it is that you're manifesting, whatever it is that you're wanting to craft in your life, there's going to be moments where it's fucking effortless, where it's so easy because it's just divinely aligned and it's perfect. And all you have to do is listen and like show up in Australia. And then like the goddess is just going to totally take care of you and bless you in every single way. And it's going to be amazing. And you'll be initiated by thunderstorms and listening to the invitation to go and lay outside beneath the lightning shooting across the sky above you and letting the thunder blast your heart open. And you say, yes. And there will be moments like that. And then there might be moments like I'm having right now, where you feel overwhelmed, but you're so fucking grateful that this is the thing that gets to overwhelm you, that you get to live your exact purpose. That like, if you could have filled out a job, you know, when you were 5 years old, like, I want to be a professor of magic. I want to make like, this is what I would have put on any little, you know, star test or whatever it is. I don't know where we're all living, but like I took star tests as a kid. And this is what I would have said I wanted. And now it's here. And it's hard now. After 3 years of it being so easy, it's hard now. And that's okay. So I also just want to like give you the gift of knowing that like initiations, they're not always easy. They're not supposed to be. They can be really hard, but they are such a gift. And the true, like, some of us, you know, Scorpio is the sign of transformation. We just had the Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse. And one of the archetypal stories, like kind of the myth of Scorpio, is that a scorpion, an actual scorpion, the animal, it will sting itself before, if it feels so threatened that it thinks it's going to die, it thinks its death is imminent. It's like, fuck this, you're not taking me out. I'm going to take myself out. And it stings itself, is willing to die on its own terms and own choice. But in the astrological myth, that choice, that willingness to transform, right? Because we know that energy never dies, it just changes form, is what allows it to become the eagle. The next iteration of Scorpio is the eagle, the bird that is the highest flying, the clearest seeing, associated with divinity and communion with spirit. In every tradition where eagles are indigenous, they are like the holiest of bird, except in Tibet, where they honor vultures, but I don't know if they have eagles in Tibet, maybe. And vultures are the ultimate harbingers of peace. Most people don't know that. They're the only animal on earth that doesn't kill anything. And they get a bad rap. But that eagle then, from knowing where I was as the scorpion down there on the ground, willing to choose death, that eagle is then like so connected to God, so connected to spirit that it's like, okay, well, you can't really fuck with me. Like, I am God. I'm one with all that I see before me. And as an eagle, like I can see everything, right? Zoomed out, bigger picture. So the eagle's not afraid to die either. And when the eagle is willing to die, and death doesn't mean like death all the time. It means like letting an old version of me go. Like right now, I'm having to let the version of me go that just expects my business to function without me. That just relies on like, oh, 50K months and 100K months without lifting a fucking finger. Like, oh, that was so great and so nice. And then like, whoa, like now I have to put in effort for that to happen. And it's a blessing. Like what a gift to be able to give that. But that old version of me that had that kind of like expectation and that joy in the magic, but like got used to it, got comfortable and accustomed to that just being the way that it was, she gone. Like she's not here anymore. She had to die. And so death can be a version of ourselves. It can be an expectation. It can be entitlement. It can be frustration. It can be pain. It can be like thinking that something that's happening to us it's not supposed to be happening. Yes, it is, or else it wouldn't be happening. That's just how it is. Everything is supposed to be happening to you, or else it wouldn't be happening. And it's not happening to you. It's happening for you. And it's happening through you and by you and as you, because you're actually the only one here. Just like right now, I'm just a reflection of your soul telling you what you needed to hear in some way. And when the eagle is willing to die, or let those old versions, old parts die, the parts that aren't willing to rise up and see the clearest view, that is when it then becomes the phoenix. And the phoenix can die over and over and over and over again. And it will never extinguish. Its flame, its spark is always lit. It's eternal. And so that is truly like the essence of real rites of passage and initiations, is that like parts of us will be asked to die. And old ways and old habits and old behaviors will have to be shed and let go of. But when we can trust in God, whatever your word for that is, right? Like obviously as a witch teacher, I've done a lot of reprogramming around the word God. So I use the word goddess most often, but whatever that universal consciousness is to you, you are that. You are an emanation of it. We pretend, we think that like we're these like limited bodies and like we do live in these fleshy meat suits, and it is pretty convincing, but that's not the truth. It's not the quantum nature of reality. And so when we can acknowledge that and recognize that like it's safe to let go of this old habit or this old way, again, like those two choices, I can let go of this old choice. I can make this new choice, whether that's like I can't afford to go on this experience or invest in myself in some way or join a program or hire a coach or a therapist or like, you know, whatever it is. I lead retreats in castles, which I love so much. And like, it's an expensive experience. And I am so grateful every time that I witness someone investing in themselves to like come and do the deep fucking healing work and also get a fabulous, luxurious experience in Scotland. That's like a 6-star hotel. But that takes a lot of effort. And sometimes it's a big initiation just to not be that version of ourselves anymore. I'm going to be the version of myself that knows I am worthy of this. And a big piece that I share with people a lot around abundance is that when you spend money that's aligned with your soul, when it's true for you, and you step out of that story of like, I'm not worthy, I don't have it, I can't afford it, this money will be gone, what am I going to do? This is a stupid decision. And you just say like, no, this is what I need, this is what I want, I'm here for this, I got this, I'm ready, I can. You are expressing that value as a reflection of you to the universe. You're like, I am worth that. So if it's $500 or $10,000 or $100,000, you're like, I'm worth that money. And it is a reflection of you. And then you receive that value because you have stood up and said, I am abundance. I am that money. I am that frequency. And so that is such a huge initiation as well, especially on the spiritual path when like things are starting to cost money. You know, and we would love, I mean, come on, high priestess and healer, I would have been taken care of by the tribe. I wouldn't have had to lift a finger. I would just like be giving my gifts and everyone would like bless me with all the bread and all the eggs and all the fruits, you know, but that's not how the world works anymore. I wish it was, but it's not. And so we have this new initiation of our own relationship to whatever it is, whether it's money and abundance, self-worth, our career and our dharma, our belief systems, our relationships, anything. And these are now the initiations and the rites of passage that come from just making new choices. So I would love to lead you guys through just a little micro moment here. We'll take like a 10-minute meditation to let some of this all sink in. And then we'll stay and do 15 minutes for Q&A, okay? So I'm just gonna invite you to close your eyes and just drop into your space. And first, just start breathing. The word spirit comes from spirare in Latin, which means the breath of life. We connect to our spirits through breath. So just taking some long, deep breaths here right now to allow yourself to experience your own spirit and how your breath can communicate your power and your gifts to the universe. Breath, wind, air is the element of our minds, the stories we tell ourselves, our communication. Without the breath, you couldn't hear me right now. This is our intellect, our expression. So just tuning in with any stories that are present here that have been arising within you throughout these last 6 days, that have been emerging. And just letting out a big sigh. And then tuning in with the saliva in your mouth, the moisture behind your eyelids, the sweet waters between your legs, and the rivers within you, the blood pumping through your veins, the waters inside your body. This is the element of our emotional realm. So just noticing any feelings. How are you feeling? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you frustrated? Are you ambivalent? Is there perhaps a dam in any of these rivers and you just feel numb and you don't know what you feel? Good thing water can always find its way around any obstacle. This is also the element of our sexuality, our creativity. Just bringing your attention or awareness to your womb space, your sacral chakra, your hara or dantian. It's a space just above your genitals. Just imagining a cauldron there filling with a waterfall of golden light and energy to fuel your visions and dreams. And connecting with your beating heart, your capacity to hear me. This is due to electricity. We call what neurons do firing because there is fire inside of us in every moment. We are not plugged into anything, and yet our hearts continue to beat. Tune into your fire, the element of action and transformation, of willpower and our capacity to shine just like the sun. And then breathing into your bones, the earthly vessel of your body. The density of your personhood. And as you draw your breath into your bones, remember that your bones are like the stones in the mountains of this planet. Your hair is like the trees and the flowers. Your muscles are the mud and the clay. We are the earth. Our bodies are a reflection of her body. That is why we must care and tend to ourselves and the body of the earth. That is why people are sick. because our species has been like a disease on the skin of this planet. So let us connect to our bodies in gratitude, in devotion, in reverence, in acknowledgement of all they have done for us throughout our lives, every step they have taken for us, every letter they've typed on the keyboard, every kiss they've shared with a lover, every hug with a friend, everything you've ever created has been done through your body. So just taking a moment to thank it and acknowledge the abundance of this physical vessel. And just feeling the vibration, the ether, the frequency of spirit, the unique essence that is you. And yet the thing which makes us all one. And from this place of awareness of the elements within you and your alchemical capacity to connect with and utilize them, I'm going to invite you to begin to see the next iteration of your life, whether that's a new career, a new relationship, a new home, a new expression of yourself, a new level of abundance, whatever it is. And I want you to see this as a scene that you are standing in. What do you see around you? What do you see? Who's there? What are you doing? What colors are present? Where are you? Just fill in as many details in this scene around you as you can. This is the next iteration of my dreams coming true, of who I am, of what I'm creating and manifesting in my life. And then begin to fill that scene in with sound. What do you hear? What are people saying to you? What do you say to others? What do you say to yourself? What is the soundscape of this scene? The actualization of your dream. And then what do you smell? What are the scents and fragrances of this place, these people, of this activity, of the nature around you, or whatever place you're in? What does it smell like? If it's a new home, is there something wafting through the doors from your kitchen? What do you smell in this next iteration of your life? And then what do you taste? What are the flavors of this dream come true? What do you get to eat as this next version of you? What are the foods that you know you are so worthy of eating, caring for yourself, tending to your holy sacred body, this vessel which walks you through life? And then we move into How do you feel? Not just what do you touch, but how do you feel? What do your fingertips caress and experience in this iteration of your life? And what does it enliven within you? What are the emotions in this next iteration of your life? How worthy of your joy and your pleasure and your ecstasy and your power and your magic and your sovereignty can you allow yourself to feel? Now, looking around at this scene, breathing in the air, touching your body or the earth or your lover or the countertop of your home, whatever it is, see if you can bring all of your 5 and 6 senses into this moment. Let that scene be fully immersive and anchor in to your body, to your mind, to your consciousness, to your heart, to your womb or sacral chakra, into your bones. The truth of this timeline and your delusional devotion in the direction of this destiny, to the actualization of this vision. And just asking your soul in this moment, in this scene, what is one thing I must do? What is one action I must take to make this first step towards bringing this vision to fruition? And just promising yourself that you will, today or tomorrow or within the next week, but you're going to do this in service to yourself and the planet that yearns for you to live in your magic and serving your sacred medicine. Just sending so much gratitude to your body and to the body of the earth for holding you, the great mother goddess, the mother we all share, this beautiful sentient deity, our holy sacred planet. Just thanking her for embracing you throughout your whole life, even when you forgot to acknowledge that she has always been and always will be there. And just taking a big, deep breath again and releasing a sigh. And just returning to our shared space whenever you're ready. Bless. Thanks, everybody. So I'd love to just open up for questions for you all for a couple of minutes. Anything is welcome. I'm going to start with Tori's question since we've already got it here. I think it really depends what comes first to be a writer with Hay House, a social media following or the message. I definitely, the book proposal process was the absolute hardest part for me. It's a sales document. they don't really give a shit what your book is about. They care about how you're going to sell it. But at that time, a year ago, when I was doing this, I only had 40,000 followers. So it is, I mean, I know that's still like a significant number to some people, but yeah, I've grown a lot since then. And I still got this 4 project deal and a really like an insane book advance for a first-time author. But that's also because I believed I could and I would. My agent told me, you know, when she released it, I was going to Antarctica and I was like going to be off the grid for 12 days. And she was like, this is impossible. Like, I can't sell this book in 10 days. Like, that's never going to happen. And I was like, Colleen, I'm a witch. Like, yes, it is. That's exactly what's going to happen. And I got the deal the day before I left for Antarctica, and it was 10 days later. So, you know, if you believe it, you can achieve it. That's how the universe works, you know, but you have to like really believe it. That's why like people think they're like, oh, can you just write me a spell for something? I'm like, no, but I can give you some fucking shadow work that'll clear all your blocks and like heal your inner child wounds that are telling you that you're never going to make that thing happen. So, you know, I do magic a little differently than most witches. Yeah. So anyone feel free to like raise your hand or just type into the chat.
I was gonna add on to that.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up very religious, like evangelical Christian, was a missionary in Nepal, all the things. So how the fuck do I trust myself? Like, I just was,
I mean, that's a witch wound.
I mean, I was just taught over and over again just to trust God, trust God, trust God. And I just was,
the thing is, my love, is that the problem is that there's a separation between you and God. Like, you do trust God, trust God, trust God, trust God. Guess where God is? Right here. I'm God. You're God. We're God. This is God. Everything is God. Everything. So every little inclination, every little word, every little moment. This is what my book is about. Literally the law of correspondence. As above, so below, as within, so without. Everything you see before you is a reflection of what's within you. And so I talk about this a lot. Like, this is a huge issue. It's called the witch wound, the wound to our wisdom. You were literally, especially like anyone who has Christian programming, like when the witch burnings first started happening, when the Roman Catholic Church took over political power in the Roman Empire, like mostly in the 6th century, they had like almost all the power by the 6th century, and they had total absolute rule by the 15th century. So like for the last 2000 years, no one's magic has been safe. If you're caught doing anything that makes you sovereign or powerful or like outside of the norm, and if you're not just like paying to be absolved, it's like, oh, put your tithings in so you can say confession. And like, it's bullshit. The church is literally like the greatest plague that our planet has ever experienced. And so it's called the witch wound. Because you know what the option was, the alternative, if you spoke up or you said, no, I don't want to, or you'd like tried to protect your family, the alternative was death. And you would be hanged or burned or drowned. And like, so people started staying silent. People started not fighting back. People started not showing their magic in public. And it's known as the witch wound. And it's a huge issue, not just for women. People think that men are discounted from it, but like, imagine if your only duty was like to protect your wife or daughter or sisters or cousins, and dudes just rolled into your house and like took her away from you and burnt her on a stick. You know, like, it exists in men almost just as much as it exists in women, just in a different way. Right. And that's why like men hate being useless and like have a hard time with failure, is because like they failed us in those moments. But it was like, okay, well, either she dies or you die or you all die, you know? So like, it's a big wound. It's not just like, oh, the book, like, you know, oh, I want to write a book. Like, it's a big wound that happens for anyone who's willing to like stand up for their power or say anything that's out of the, you know, like the societal norm.
damn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get your book. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go all
True.
day. I got a
It's
whole
the
chapter
voice,
in the
it's
book about
silencing
it.
of the voice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the
Thank
neck
you.
too, because of hangings and stranglings and torture, like the neck is a very common place where people experience the witch wound, and that's the throat chakra. So it's like with the voice. Yeah, I was just leading my retreat in Ireland. Instead of just going back myself, I took a group of 25 women from all over the world, which was so epic. And we went back to the festival together, and there was a lot of challenge with the voice, as there is for all of us. Yeah. Bless. Thanks, love.
Thank
Michael.
you. Thank you.
Wow, what a transmission. And God, you're talking to this witch wound, and this is really landing so clear for me tonight. It is so real. And like, you know, if you look at all the signs, so many of us have trouble expressing ourselves. And then when we do find our voice, we go through holy hell a lot of times. And just finding that throat chakra to open up, and realize, I posted in the chat that by the 1600s, the witch burnings had killed 9 million souls just in Europe by the 1600s.
Yeah. And we
So-
don't even think about what a much more vast percentage of the population that was at that time. It was like less than 1 billion people on the planet then. So like 9 million people was like a much bigger percentage.
Exactly. And we're still dealing with what? We're dealing with patriarchal control, but the patriarchy is merely a construct. This is a bigger systemic slavery system that we have been numb, blind, and immune to by being programmed out of our perception. And this is why this is so revolutionary in this time, that we get these eyes back, we get these voices back, and we sharpen these swords, and we take this motherfucker back.
Hallelujah. Yes. And a really great way to work with the patriarchal programming within ourselves, and it's 5:55 as I'm saying this, perfect, is to work with our own inner masculine, right? Which parts of our masculine are disempowered, which parts are wounded, which parts still don't feel safe to be expressed, which parts feel unworthy or feel that energy of failure, right? Like there's nothing we're going to do with the external systemic patriarchy if we don't work on our inner masculine, right? Like we have to feel safe to express our emotions. We have to feel safe to like fall apart. And like what I was sharing with you guys that I'm experiencing, right, is like, I'm just showing up in my inner masculine right now. Like, that's okay for me. I've been in my full fucking goddess vibes for 3 years. It's been absolutely 3. It was a lot longer than that. I was in the full goddess vibes to build the whole thing, to stay in the goddess vibes. And something that's very interesting about that is my body actually stopped producing testosterone for a period, like stopped completely, because my inner masculine was just like, and now, like, boom, that yang, he back, you know? And I'm like, hey, King, what's up? Like, let's do this, you know, let's run this fucking Empressire. But yeah, so that's a really great, thanks for bringing that up, Michael. But when we can work with that inner masculine and work through the patriarchal programming, like, you know, anything like Tori was just saying with the church, anything that prevents us from experiencing our emotions, using our voice, being in our creative energy, any way that we are disempowered in our masculine, that helps deconstruct the patriarchy in the external, again, as above, so below, as within, so without. Okay, Eloan, great question. How to know when the guidance is from my higher self, God, goddess, versus from the programming or the trauma? My experience is that it feels really different. There is definitely, like, when you come up against something that you know is going to be an initiation, right? There can be fear. There can be like, oh, fuck, oh my God, like this thing. But often the programming, right? The programming and the trauma is usually like that choice that you've always made, right? It's the same thing. It's kind of like the hamster wheel. It's the cycle. It's like, I've been there before. This has been a challenge. I've already made this choice this way. You know, it's the ego, right? In Latin, ego literally just means I. It's like it's the limited I, right? When we're talking about what the church has done to us, like the church has put God up in the sky as this like punitive, abusive, bearded white dude who's gonna like smite you if you do anything wrong and like have fun, like fucking, which is literally how everybody got here. Like, it's outrageous. It just like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just ridiculous. So that energy has taken away from us knowing that the I is God. So the ego is this like part of ourselves that's separate, right? Like, it doesn't see itself as this eternal, infinite, divine being. It's very afraid of like getting outside of its comfort zone. So I actually have a free meditation on my website that's really helpful with like, it's like a channeled writing practice, and you can like do that and ask. So it's like the basis of it, there's like a little meditation to lead up, but the basis of it is a practice that I've used many times. I've shared it with thousands of people, and I call upon either my higher self or the dragons or Mother Earth or like the power of pussy. Like, you can write anything. I call upon X please write to me, through me, anything I'm meant to receive in this moment. And you could ask, like, I call upon my intuition or my higher self or my guidance. Please tell me how to know when it's you. Give me a color, give me a number, give me a feeling inside of myself, give me like a texture of energy, right? Because the ones that are like the programming and the trauma, they usually feel like this, like they feel like contracted. They don't, the energy of our divinity, even if there's fear, but it's like, am I going to feel this on the other side of that leap of faith, right? Am I going to find that actually like a net appeared, or I grew wings, or like, even if I hit the fucking bottom, I died and was reborn, you know, that full Phoenix energy. So that's usually, yeah. And I personally, like, there's moments where the goddess is like, douche, douche, like giving me a little bitch slap because I need it, you know? So, it's really about like the texture and frequency of the energy. That's how I do that. And also like, who do I want to become on the other side of this choice? So like, okay, if I make the past programming choice, like I'm going to probably just become the same version of myself that I have been. And I'm kind of over that. And I want to be someone different. So like, I'm going to follow this thing that feels like the stretch or the expansion or the like next level iteration of like, oh, I'm going to be someone else, or I'm going to be someone different. Yeah, exactly. Great. Gigi. Yeah. Like color. I got to download yesterday instead of words. I just saw lavender. Yeah. So like that might be I call it like your intuition again. So that might be the color of your intuition. Okay. Last question, Jess.
Hey.
Hey.
So listening to you talk, you mentioned something about like women and how like an initiation in current society is like childbirth. And I'm recognizing that I'm in my mid-30s and like a lot of my friends have like had children, and I'm not planning on doing that in this lifetime. And it's almost like I'm like not sure when I'm going to get viewed as like an adult person, you know, like I carry so much responsibility. I've always been like an assertive, responsible individual. I've always taken care of myself, but it's like, and I self-initiate in all these ways through like really intense choices that put me down massive paths. And then I come out different on the other side. But the perception to, I think, some of my childbearing friends is that like, I'm still a child. And so I'm curious, like, if you have any words or wisdom around that.
Yeah, totally. The first thing is that any like projection that you're putting out onto your friends as like they're saying this about me or this is how they're feeling and I'm worried about it is actually just something you need to deal with within yourself. Like where do I, despite all of these feelings of self-responsibility, still feel like a child? And guess what, girl? That's a fucking blessing. Like, cause you know what? We used to like get sold off to arranged marriages when we were like 13 and had like 4 babies by 20. And like, you didn't get to feel like a child for very long. So like, I'm so grateful I still get to be in my maiden phase. I am not ready for that. And I'm in my 30s too. Like, bless all my friends having kids, not ready, you know, like my mom had me at 40. She had my brother at 43. I'm not in a rush, you know, I'm like, I got my cats, I'm doing great. But the thing for the like initiation itself is children now in the modern day come in many different forms. Like this book that I'm writing, I don't have time for a kid. I would be a horrible mother right now because my child is my book and my child is my business. Like those are my children right now. Those are the creations that are like birthing out of my womb and they are coming and they are not stopping. Like the moment I finished the book, I turned in my manuscript for my book and she messaged me, sent me it back. She's like, hey, can you have this back to me on May 18th, the day that my fucking retreat starts? I'm like, no, I can't. And then the Oracle deck is due 4 weeks from now. Like it just hasn't stopped. Like, these are my children. This is the constant care and tending to that I am providing for a creative endeavor. And that's what a child is. It's born from your womb. It's born from your sexual energy. And so you have the opportunity to like claim your womanhood. And even woman means womb mind. Man comes from manas, which means mind. And the woman is the womb mind. So it doesn't have to be a child. It's just, what am I birthing into this world? And it can also be like, who is the iteration of myself that feel like everything that I've been sharing, this is a new iteration of me. Like I am a fucking woman now, this like CEO version of me. It's a different, like the little fluffy fairy who thought she could just like flit around all day and do whatever the fuck she wanted, like day in and day out. Like That girl's busy now, like all day, every day, working all night, hours that I could never have imagined working, but like lit by the fucking fire of the desires for my dreams to come true and like exactly what the goddess keeps guiding me to do. And that's the fucking woman. Like, I don't need a child to feel like that. I am birthing what God is asking me to birth right now, you know? And that's a fucking initiation. All day, every day. Like, I'm exhausted, you know? Elowan had to lead me through a meditation when we did our little call right before this. He's like, okay, let's take a couple of deep breaths. Like, you need to fucking relax, girl. I was like, I know. I've been on calls for 5 hours. There was no internet at my house. I'm in some random co-working space right now. Like, you know, just going. But like, this is the fire. This is the element of transformation. It's the element of action. And of course, like we can burn out. But ultimately, when you look at the solar star that gives all life to our planet, which we call the sun, it's shining. It travels and it looks like it takes a break, but it's not. It's shining and it's burning and it's blazing and it's brilliant all the time. Like I can take my moments where I like go into my little place and it looks like I'm recharging, or it looks like I'm taking winter, or it looks like, I mean, I lived in Boulder to finish my book because I needed to not be in any social settings. So I'm here in Colorado and it's kind of still winter here. It's been like 7 months of winter. Like, whoa, that's okay. Even when there's clouds, even when it's snowing, that sun is still up there shining. So that's what I'm going to do too. And that's what makes me a woman. That's what makes me live by the wisdom of my womb mind. So you don't have to have kids, like bless them, but like the world doesn't need any more people. We're good. You know, we're going to be fine on our population, but the world needs whatever else it is that you're meant to birth into the planet and into existence. Your art, your medicine, your power, like just a woman in her power, just a woman who's like, I feel safe to be myself. I know my inner masculine and my inner feminine. I am God and goddess. I am divine. That changes the frequency of the planet. That sends a ripple out into the fabric of collective consciousness. That's a worthwhile endeavor. Doesn't have to be children. It's any creative pursuit, and you can be your own creation. Chelsea, I can just, oh my God, so good. I like see her mouthing this.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Bless this, of course. Like,
Yeah, the entire time. So damn good.
yeah, good. I know we got to wrap up. So, but yeah, like also the last thing is like being your own good parent, like parenting the inner child, the wounded little soul inside of you who didn't get what they want, or who thought like they had to be something in order to be accepted. Like you parenting that person differently with love, unconditional love and care. That's it. You know, that's it. That's what the world needs. And embodying like this planet who is so fucking forgiving. God, like, you know, she lets us get away with murder, literally and figuratively. So just embody her, go learn from her, lay on her for 5 hours and ask her what you're meant to create. You know, that's like some of the greatest initiations in my life. It's just like, I'm going to lay on the ground face down for 5 hours and let my womb and my third eye and my heart become part of the root systems and the mycelial networks. And like, I'm going to learn who the fuck I really am like this. And I do. Hallelujah. Okay. Now she's done. But yes, Michael, this is the true religion. I'm like, welcome to my sermon, y'all. Bless. All right. Well, Chelsea, I'll let you take it away, but thank you all so much for being here and for joining me. I know they've got all of my like social medias. Just be wary. I have like 158 scam accounts. So it's just Mia Magic as it's spelled here, MIA-MAGIK. That's my only account. So just know that, you know, that's a prevalent thing happening in the spiritual community right now. So just like this.
Oh my God, Mia, this was amazing. You literally are such a channel. You became the entire space. You have no idea. It was just, you are such an embodiment of wisdom. Literally, everything that you said was exactly what Jess and I had. I'll tell you later. It was wild, literally wild. You're amazing. Oh my God, take ourselves off mute and rub our hands together, generating some electricity. And Mia just gave us so much. And she's been going all day. Can we just give her so much love, so much energy, so much care, and a big ashtahe?
Hey, Mia, giving you strength of 1,000 dragons.
Mm,
Oh my God, Mia, thank you. Thank you for being.
yes. My
Mm.
pleasure, sis. Thanks so much, Queen. All right, y'all, have a beautiful rest of your blessed nights and days. And I will see you somewhere in the ethers and in the magical realms again soon.
Bye, love. Okay, amazing. Oh my gosh, you guys. Wow. Like I have so much energy moving through my body after that. I don't know if you guys do, but like
Holy fuck, yes. Like this is like so electric today. This is a perfect capstone to this fucking week. Oh my God.
it really was. It really was. Because like it was so even funny how she talked about, she's like, there was a phase in my life where, you know, I was just kind of like life was just happening through me. And I'm like, that was stage 6. And I'm like, wow, like this was interesting how she's really just showing up in service right now, really deeply. Like she's just so in it. I don't know. I could go on and on. I really love her. She activates something in me that's just really intense. She's got like a Gemini sun and a Scorpio moon, and there's a part of me that's
Yeah, she has lit me up tonight too, very much so. I feel supercharged.
yeah, me too. Oh my God. And then Alawan has Phoenix in the room and she's talking about the Phoenix rising from the ashes. And I'm like, she's just a channel. So good. Amazing. Okay. I'm really excited. I plan on having that much energy. Oh my God. Okay. So yes, this is amazing. I would love to just call forward a share after that because yeah, I feel like I'm just gonna take a breath personally. Does anyone want to share anything that came through? Yeah, so good. Anyone have anything like? No, it's okay if not. Okay, cool. We can move on. Okay, yeah. You also talked about being the money, being the abundance. So synchronistic to yesterday's talk. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was really just very tapped in. That was super special. So, okay. Yes. We're now here. So good. Yeah, I am just feeling so much and I'm really grateful for these last 5 days. This has been such a portal. We literally went on such a powerful journey going through these 7 stages, really going through these. And I loved how, you know, today was the day of really tying it all together by talking about the initiations and the rite of passages, talking about the Phoenix rising from the ashes, talking about the transformations, talking essentially about this leap of faith, you know, that it takes to really create the life of our dreams and what it actually means to really meet life as our fullest selves. And I love how the thing that I really picked up from, like the thing that stuck out the most for me from that was when she got back from that whole journey after she went to Bali, Australia, New Zealand, all the things. And it was literally her putting on the hat and it activated her. And for me, it was kind of this symbol of, you know, really becoming your true self unapologetically without hiding anything. And it was like she changed her name to the Modern Witch and she went all in. And it's almost like this energy of just really owning who you are unapologetically, like as much as possible. And yeah, it really like it hits home, you know, it's really powerful, like witnessing that. And also just that is the theme of this entire 5 days, you know, that is the energy. Like that's the theme. That's what we're in. And literally like, yeah, you know, yeah, Michael, do you have something you want to share?
God, Chelsea, you always like, man, you say things and it's like just lights me up to this download that comes in when you say it. But this talk tonight with Mia has just got me on fire. And it's like just like lit this thing. And it's like sharing it with each other, bringing everybody into this magic together and healing ourselves and the whole world at the same time. And it's so God, man, it's like, let's go. Let's get offline and let's just go kick ass right now. I mean,
Love it.
crazy. I feel so good.
It's so good. Yeah, I feel that too. Yeah. And, Mia is teaching inside of this program again for the next year. Like she's literally with us in this and specifically focusing on manifestation and magic. And so it was a really beautiful bridge that she made between stages 3 and stage 6, right? Because in stage 3, it's about following your intuition, hearing those voices to book that flight, hearing that intuition where it doesn't logically make sense, but it is the move, and feeling those nudges and not even knowing why, and having that work out way better than planned. And then how that relates to stage 6, because in stage 6, it's about that effortless abundance. It's about moving in life by the choiceless choice. It's about being guided so powerfully through life that life is just happening through you. And so specifically manifestation and synchronicity really connects those 2 stages together, in this kind of like dichotomy. So yeah, I really appreciated the storytelling as well. So, and yeah, we're going to also tell a little bit of stories today because, we have some beautiful stories that we would love to share with you. Yeah, just stories from our community. And we would love to call you guys forward to share your experiences and your stories. So today is kind of like a day of celebration. We went through these 5 days. We got to hear from, if you guys remember all the way back to Monday, we got to hear from Echo, and we got to do some trauma release, and we got to hear from Crystal and hear her stories. And then we got to kind of move into hearing Cam and doing that beautiful whiteboarding activity and diving into sacred sexuality and having Tiffany get into our bodies and bringing forward the dynamics between the masculine and the feminine. And then we got to kind of weave our way into, doing emotional release with Amy Ann and breath work with Bryant and really feeling what it feels like to just be oneness and source. And then yesterday we got to sit with Gina in the abundance codes and Amir in the king codes and really feel the power of that. And today we got to kind of wrap up the journey by talking about rites of passage and initiations. And I love the questions that were brought forward during that. And this is a really big, this is really important because life will initiate us. Life is always going to initiate us. And we can go out seeking the initiations. And just like we were talking about at the beginning, certain people can be our initiations, and so can experiences. Literally, in Bali, as she was going through her initiation, I was also going through mine at the exact same moment. And I met her during my stage 3 initiation in 2018. That's literally when I met her. And she was literally like at my house crying about this Netflix show that went under. And it was just this wild moment of how far we both, the journeys that we've woven through and the different rites of passages that have come after that and beyond. And yeah, it's almost like these natural ups and downs of life, if we could just reframe them and take that eagle eye view and look down and say, wow, like this is actually part of this beautiful, grand life initiation that when I sometimes we can only connect the dots looking backwards. But when we start doing that and we start connecting those dots looking backwards, we can start saying, wow, this feels familiar. I remember this experience. Like, I know that this is something super important. And then immediately you get taken out of the pain of the experience or the trauma or whatever's coming up. And you say, oh my God, that light bulb goes off and you're like, oh my God, this is teaching me something. And you start leaning into it and the lessons start pouring through. And that's when the initiations come in. And so these are powerful moments that can really transform our entire journeys and the way that we even experience and look at life. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to call that point forward because this is an initiation journey. Even this week, maybe you experienced it in these micro feelings, right? We said like the micro and the macro mirror each other, as above, so below. And Mia also brought that forward. And just like we have the 7 stages of awakening, we also have that cycle of transformation that we talked about, right? The cycle of transformation that brings you in a single moment through those micro realizations. And so, yeah. And 3 years ago, the entire world shut down. And, I felt this insane amount of energy moving through my body. And I remember even going to Michael Rose, if you're on this call, Mickey King. I remember going to your house and you made me this beautiful cup of cacao. I love this story and I loved this moment because it was so transformational and you were really, an expander in that moment in my life. And that was the moment where I was like, instead of just crying and hitting the floor, I was like, hey, I need to make a change. I need to be the change. And that's how this entire event even got created on March 16th of 2020, when all of Europe shut down. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be really intense. And that's where, all of this kind of was birthed in that moment. And that for me, it was a rite of passage because, to be honest, I was scared shitless to speak in front of people. I was like so scared. And
you wanted to go to a Tony Robbins event and you were talking yourself out of it and I wouldn't let you.
And it was
right?
just, I was literally talking myself out of it. So I was like, no, like I had all these reasons why. It's just like me fighting myself.
Right. And we had cacao that was like ecstasy. For some reason, it psychoactivated us like some insane portal. It was crazy.
Insane. And you know what? In that moment, I had all that fear. And even in that fear, my conviction was so strong. I was like, I have to show up. I have to do this. And overnight, without me promoting it anywhere, we had like hundreds of people sign up. And every morning I'd wake up and hundreds of people were signing up. And I was like, and I'm so scared. By the end of the week, we had over 1,000 people registered for this thing. And I was like, it was my first thing ever. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? I was scared shitless to speak at the first event. This was 10 events ago. And we had like so many people. And I was like, okay, all my insecurities, all my deepest fears were arising. And I was like, I don't know if I could do this. And that was my leap of faith. I had to literally leap of faith into the fire, face all of my fears until I was standing in my fullest power. And I didn't know any of the coaches at the time either. I kind of knew them, but I kind of didn't. And I was scared to show up. And that was literally an initiation for me. I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. And obviously, slowly, I became way more comfortable public speaking, started speaking all over it, right? Showing up here in full confidence, like I don't have that fear anymore. And all of those coaches became some of my best friends. I mean, we've had over 250 coaches, but I would say like a great majority of them actually came to visit me in Tulum. I've become really good friends with a lot of these people, and specifically even the community. We've become so close. People literally have come to Tulum and lived here. I know David, that was on this call, earlier today, Tori came to live in Tulum. Like we've had so many people literally come and experience like life. We become so close to these events. I still date someone that I met at this event. It's been so transformational and so life-changing. And if I would have not said yes, and if I would have let my fear overtake me, and if I would have not gone to get that cacao that day at Michael's house, none of this would have existed. And I would have let my fear of playing my playing small take over and stop me from creating this entire experience and changing my life for the next 3 years. Right? I wouldn't have been, Jessica became one of my best friends. And now we're like living together in Tulum, and traveling the whole world this summer. Right? Like my life looks so different just from saying yes to feeling all that fear and turning it into courage and leaning into the fire and feeling that rite of passage. Some of you guys might know that story, and some of you guys might not know that story, but that's really how these events came into existence, into fruition. And our dream life doesn't happen by us staying the same. It doesn't happen by us staying inside of our comfort zone or by letting the lack of confidence or belief stop us from taking action, right? Or by thinking we're not good enough, we're not qualified to do the things that we want to do, which comes up a lot, the imposter syndrome. That came up for me. Who am I to invite the best coaches in the world into this event? Who am I to do this? I asked myself all week. I had one of my favorite artists play at this event, and it was David Block, The Human Experience. And I was like, having a panic attack. I was like, oh God, he just said yes. And I was freaking out, and it was just like, it was so intense, moving beyond that constantly. And it was so important for me to learn how to take these leaps of faith, how to learn how to trust myself. Tori asked that question, how do we learn how to trust ourselves? And Mia's answer was, there is a trust in God, and then it's a recognition that you are God. And so what does it really mean to take that leap of faith and to recognize that you are the medicine, you are the thing that you're seeking? So it's like saying yes to you. It's like, I'm saying yes to myself. And when you do that, all of life conspires in your favor. And abundance will meet you in that infinite nature. When you start showing up in that way, life will start to meet you there. Yeah. And sometimes we get confused with what abundance means. Sometimes we think that just like it just shows up in like cold, hard cash. If it's not cash in my hand, I'm not really abundant. But abundance can show up in any way. For instance, during COVID, I ended up going through a breakup with that same guy that I met. And I was like, I gotta get out of these walls in Atlanta. I'm really feeling trapped. And so I jumped on a plane and I hopped to Tulum. I didn't know anything about Tulum. I didn't know what Tulum was. I was just like, I don't know anything. And I was like, I gotta get out of here. And Tulum was the only place open. And the reason I found out is because I was in the pool at my apartment and I met some guy who worked for Delta. And he was like, the only place that you can go to right now is Mexico. And I recommend Tulum. And I was like, I'm going to Tulum. And so I booked a flight. And when I got there, I shared a taxi with a guy who basically said, where are you going to stay? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't even know I was going to make it into the country. I was the only person on the flight. The whole world is shut down. Like, I didn't even think they'd let me in. And he was like, well, my family owns a hotel and you could stay there as long as you want. And I was like, really? And so I did. And I stayed there for 3 months on the beach in a penthouse in this beautiful resort. It was all to myself. And I was like, this is wild. Like, that is abundance. The universe literally met me in that type of abundance, right? It wasn't this cold, hard cash, but it was like, this is an experience that literally changed my whole life. I ended up not leaving Tulum. I stayed here, And eventually it became my deepest gift. And it was actually what initiated me into stage 5 in my rite of passage journey. It laid the foundation, and I needed to take that leap of faith without having a plan, without having any sort of idea, and travel and move beyond that uncertainty and trust myself. I needed to do that. And, I did this many times throughout my life. I realized today that leaps of faith have actually been the guiding force of my life. And I was sitting with this right before Mia was speaking. I was just like contemplating all these things. And then she came on and just was channeling all my thoughts. And I was like, this is wild. And when I graduated high school, I took a sales job. And I had never done sales in my entire life, but I knew I was not going to work at the ice cream shop anymore. I was like, this is not going to pay for college. And it wasn't going to work. And my dream was to go to the University of Georgia. And at the time I was living in upstate New York. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, because I would be out of state and it would be like $15,000 per semester. I have no idea how I'm going to do this. And so I made a deal with myself, and I was like, all right, if I can pay for my first semester of college by the end of the summer, I am going to enroll in the University of Georgia, and I'm going there. I'm going. And so I worked all summer. And I was like, I told everybody, I was like, I have this dream. I'm going to my dream university. And by the end of the summer, I made $10,000. And I was like, if I can do this, I can do it. I can go. I can do this. And at the end of the summer, I got an invitation from a girl who said, I would love for you to come with me to this random place called Elmira, New York. I'd never even heard of it. And I'm going to open up my own office and I would love for you to help me. And I'll teach you everything I know about being a manager and running your own office. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And I took a leap of faith and I moved to this random place in, random New York. And I started learning how to run my own office with her, and I helped her, and we really did a good job. Like we became one of the most successful offices in the entire nation. And I learned everything about marketing, sales, running teams, basically coaching. It was my first taste of coaching because I had an entire team that I like 160 people. No. I had 300 people that I was managing that summer. And I made enough money to pay for the University of Georgia. So I went. And that's how I got to Georgia. That's how I was able to go to the University of Georgia. And then the next summer, I was invited to open up my own office. And they literally told me, okay, if you're going to open up your own office, you need $5,000. Well, I had just spent all my money on my freaking tuition. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it. And they say you need $5,000. Well, I had $500. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it work. I have no idea how, but I know I'm supposed to do this. My intuition was so strong. It was like, I know I'm supposed to do this. And I went to West Virginia. That's where they placed me. I was like, I've never been to West Virginia. It was so wild. And I found an office. I signed a lease. And by the end of the summer, I then became the top manager. And in across 5 states. And I was like, I was like, and then I did it again. I paid for college again. I was like, if I can do this, I know I can do anything in life. My leaps of faith have literally taken me so far. And I didn't know how abundance was going to come. I didn't know how it was going to come, but I trusted in myself and I trusted in my inner voice. I trusted in my intuition. And I was like, I know it's going to show up because I'm here for it. I believe in it. I know I can do this, And in our first festival ever, there was a girl sitting in our festival named Cassie, and she quit her job on the second day of the festival. And she was like, I'm going to do this. I'm taking my leap of faith. She hired one of our coaches. She started her own business and made more money than ever. And she's still thriving doing that today. I just the honest right now. I remember she was definitely scared to turn her camera on at first. And then she turned it on. And then she reached out to me after, and it took her months to reach out. Maybe Jessica, you want to share the story? I don't know if you want to share the story. But Jessica ended up working with us and helping to build this company for an entire year by taking that leap of faith and saying yes and reaching out. And that was your biggest fear at the time, reaching out, taking the leap of faith, and she did it. And for that entire year last year, we were an adventure. It was so powerful. And I'm so grateful for you. I don't know if you want to say anything about it. You're welcome to, but it was, yeah, you can.
I would love to share. Okay. I'm going to admit that when I first found the chrysalis, I was in a moment where I didn't want to talk to anybody. Like I was really in a chrysalis moment. I had cocooned really hard in my home. And my boss prior to the pandemic had told me that it was time for me to stop working because my body was going through something. And I felt so much shame for my body, for my disability. I didn't want to show myself to anybody. I was so scared of judgment. I was in so many online communities and in these amazing circles and healings, and I was afraid to speak up. I was afraid to have like everybody looking at me and have the attention be turned on me. I felt like I was taking up too much space and taking away from other people. And my first emergence, it was on my birthday. And one of the coaches had everybody turn the attention to me and sing happy birthday to me. And I was literally crawling out of my freaking skin. It was so uncomfortable. And then 4 months later, I had just had this like burning in my brain that was like, you need to reach out. You need to reach out to these people, because after that happy birthday moment, I realized, like, why am I so scared of attention? And like, why am I so scared of showing myself? And why am I so scared of sharing my voice? And if I hadn't made that choice, I'm starting to sweat, but honestly, like, I wouldn't remember who the fuck I am. And if I had continued on that path, it was doing nobody service. And I'm so grateful for where I am now, because not only do I remember my power and remember who I am and remember that child part of me that was told no and wants to shine anyways, I trust myself. I like really, really trust myself. And that all came from the transformation, from the love of these humans and the support of this container. And so I'm forever changed, and I'm so grateful.
I'm forever changed knowing you, Jessica Jaley. You're an amazing human. I'm so excited to see what creates around us and through us. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we all take ourselves off mute and give Jessica Daly a big ashtahay?
Hey, magical woman.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so beautiful. Yeah, and I see Eloan ditto. Yeah, these containers have been so powerful. Actually, I met Eloan right on the day of my stage 5 initiation. It was my 29th birthday. It was my Saturn return day that I was like literally going into it. And I had just graduated ISTA, the International School of Tantric Art, with Eloan. And I was like, Eloan's special. Like, I really need to reach out to him. And he was like the person during the event that was like literally like making sure the whole container was set. He had everything without anyone ever asking. Eloan was on it. There was like construction workers next door. He jumped a fence to have them say, hey, we're in a meditation. Like, he was just like in it. I was like, he is on fire. He is like such a leader. And it has been so, I don't to stop working. He literally came down so that we can have silence and continue our ceremony. It was just like, wow. And I was like, literally, I don't know if you want to share, but it was so important. And it's just like such powerful leadership, you know? You just always show up in leadership, and your intuition is always guiding you, and you just listen. You're like, yes, I have to do this. Boom. No questions asked. Boom. You just always know. It's super powerful. And this is such a gift. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for creating this with us. Thank you so much for all of your energy, your wisdom, your gentleness, your love, your mindfulness, your ability to really care for people, your ability to lead people back to their heart and their truth. Thank you, Eloan. Can we give Eloan a big ashtahay? He's been backstage this entire time, onboarding every single speaker into this event.
Ashtahay! Woo!
Hey.
Sure.
We love you. Oh my God, so good. Yes. And you know, there's another person that we really need to thank in the space while we're here. We're in the energy of thanking all of the crystals containers. And Jessica Marshall has been with this company since the beginning of COVID. Right in September, I met Jessica. And literally, this is wild. I'm going to tell this story. So after our 4th festival, this other festival called Oneness Festival came out. And they were incredible. When I first started this festival, it was like me making this homemade website. And it was just like, I had no idea what I was doing. And I was just like putting it out there. And I just had all this energy. It was just like the people could just feel the energy. It didn't matter like what it looked like or anything. But when Oneness came out, they had professional marketing, professional branding. It was this beautiful like creation, and they had basically invited all the same speakers that I had invited, and I was like, okay, this is it. They did it better, and I'm done. This is it for me. This is kind of it. And I felt this extreme hopelessness and comparison, and all of this like imposter syndrome came up, and I was like, yeah, I guess this is it. Like, they did it better. They took the idea and, they knew what they were doing, and that's it. And a month later was checking my messages, and I saw this like message in my other inbox, and I was like, what's this? And the founder of that festival had reached out to me saying, hey, we've been following your journey for a really long time. You've been able to do something we haven't, and we really want to talk to you. Can you talk? And I was like, yeah, what's up? And they were like, we haven't been able to create community. We have, everything looks really good. We have all the speakers, we have all this, but we don't know how to create community. Can you help us? And I was like, yes, I can. I was like, I've done this 5 times now, and I know everything, every in and out of this thing. Let me teach you everything I know. And Jessica was on that Oneness team. And that's how I met Jessica. And a month later, they decided, they were living in Bali, and they said, you know what, we want to work with everybody who's living in Bali. And so everybody who's not here, and Jessica was living in the United States, we're going to kind of shift. And so Jessica and this other guy, Steve, ended up saying, what if we all took your vision and we brought it to life together? And that's how we all ended up working with each other. It was like the perfect combination. And it was like, that was the thing I was manifesting, was a team of people who really believed in this, who wanted to bring this to life with me. And that's actually how the team came together. It was better than I ever could have even imagined. It was gifted to me by the universe. Kind of every part of this company was kind of God-given. And Jessica has been the backbone to all of our marketing, all of our branding. She went to design school. She's literally an art major. She's the most creative person in the world. She's a genius. And she is literally the thing that Spirit gave me is we've created this in multiple lifetimes, and we're just picking up where we left off. And Jessica has been the brains and the wisdom for the content of this program. And she was the feminine and I was the masculine, bringing this together. And, we're all of it. We're all of it. But specifically when it comes to writing the content of the course, we wrote it from both perspectives. And what I was told in this, experience is that Jessica has done this with me in past lifetimes, and we're picking up where we left off. So I just want to thank Jessica again for being in this lifetime with me, bringing this to life again. And so can we all rub our hands together and give Jessica a big ashtay for doing this again?
Ashtay.
Ashtay.
Bakalar.
Yes.
Bakalar Christmas. And we'd had a real Christmas. That was the Christmas of my life that time.
Yeah, when Jessica first moved to Tulum, Michael came to visit, and we all spent Christmas together in Mexico.
Yeah.
So special.
It was amazing. It's these memories.
We've
Holy
been on this journey. Yeah. It's been really special. No, it was in 2021. And that's when we changed the name from Corona Fest to Chrysalis. That's when we really, oh no, that was 2020. Yeah, that was 2020. Yeah, that was December of 2020.
Yeah, it was December 2020 because
First
2021 we were
ended. That's when the name came through, actually. On that exact date, when the Mayan calendar ended, we were at the pyramids. And that's when the name came through. And that's when we decided to change the name to the Crystals. You guys, the way that we created this has been very fit. Like, it's been wild. Like, literally the day the Mayan calendar ended is when we decided to call this company the Chrysalis. Under the pyramid, Like it was just like I remember posting it on Instagram on the day. You could see our first Instagram post ever was on that date. It was just like it was wild. The whole journey has been very wild. So yeah, I'm just really grateful for this. And it's like sometimes when we're listening to our own intuition, the synchronicities get so intense and so strong that you just start crying because so much truth is moving through your body. And I've had so many moments. I don't know if I'll ever publish it, but the moment that all of this map came through, I had snot pouring out of my nose. I was crying. There was so much truth moving through my body. I was shaking and I recorded it because I was like, this might never happen again. And I have it on video and I'm just too embarrassed to share it with the world. But honestly, like every part of this company has just been so divine. And I think that's how we've been blessed to have so many amazing people around us and so many amazing speakers who believe in this and believe in us and they're willing to support. Mia Magic has been on calls for 5 hours a day. She hardly has time. I've been talking to her assistant this whole time, and she's like, I'm here for this. I want to be there. I'm here for you. I want to make this happen. And she's saying no to everything else, literally everything else. So the fact that she was here today was super powerful because she's literally not saying yes to anything this year. So it's really been special creating this company. Even the creation process has been really wild and I wouldn't change it for the world. And I'm grateful for every single person who's been walking this journey with us. Michael, you've been to all 10 festivals since the beginning. Gigi's been to all 10 festivals. It's been like a wild journey. And I'm really grateful to be here and to now be able to bring this course Metamorphosis to life for, 12 months. Like this is really special to be able to be in this energy and going through all these ups and downs together for an extended period of time with the support of all of these coaches, being supported. And being in, these are my expanders, honestly. The people that I invited to speak are the people that expand my life. That's why I invited them. I was like, I want to learn from you too, and they're my friends and also my teachers and my mentors. And, it's like we create the thing in the world that we also need. This is my medicine. This is helping me step into my stage 6 and anchor that frequency. That's why I'm creating this. That's why we're all in this together. We're all walking this path, we're all doing this journey. And so, yeah, I didn't expect to say any of that, but just a lot came through during that talk. I was like, wow, it's so amazing. And, a big part of it was just like, the feeling of abundance when we're in that frequency of truth and listening to our intuition and following it, having no idea how it's going to work out or how it's going to happen. We're met in that same energy. And I just want to call that forward because I imagine that there's someone in this room who's just like, God, I really want to do this. And maybe that equal voice is just like, shit, I don't know if I can. Like, I don't know if I can afford it, And I just want to remind you, and you already know this, but I just want to remind you that life will meet you where you meet it. And if you're really feeling it and you're really feeling called, it will come. The resources will be there. It'll be like Mia going to freaking New Zealand and then finding the $500 flight. Like life will always give you exactly what you need. When you're listening to your intuition, when you're listening to your heart, when you're listening to your truth and you're really listening, it's not coming from fear, right? But you're listening to your soul. That's when life will meet you because it's taking that leap of faith. You're hearing it, you're listening to it, you're in it, you're meeting life there. Yeah. And so, and this is the Ashtahay, right? This is life meeting us in the Ashtahay. When we're taking that leap of faith, life is our Ashtahay moment. Taking that leap of faith back with us. Like, I'm here, I'm in it, I'm with you, I'm walking this with you, and that's the feeling of just being held. And, I just want to ask, I know there's a few people here who has already said yes to Metamorphosis. You can raise your hands. Yeah, I know Melina. Yeah, we've got a bunch of people. Yeah, Tori. Yeah, amazing. Who wants to say yes, but is scared? Is there anyone here that's just like, I want to say yes, but I'm kind of scared? You can either type it in the chat, you can raise your hand, you can literally stick your hand up, you can do all the things. right? There, we all get these moments where we're being met in that energy of just like, "Ah, I feel it, you know? And this is the leap of faith, you know? This is that moment where we get to kind of meet life in that space. And this is gonna challenge us. It's gonna meet us face to face with our truth. And sometimes that truth isn't always easy to look at. And it's not always pleasant. You know, initiation moments and rite of passages, you know, we're standing in fire sometimes. And that fire is meant to kind of curate us into that diamond that allows us to really shine, right? And so for those of us who get to go through these 7 stages of awakening and evolve beyond stage 4, you'll also be eligible to attend our luminescence retreat, which we're hosting in September in Tulum. And that is a retreat that is specifically focused on the masculine and the feminine. And this is around conscious communication, intimacy evolution. This is around being called into really seeing each other and seeing each other in our most divine feminine and divine masculine nature. And this is where the work of stage 4 and stage 5 is really focused in our retreats, when we're with each other and we're bringing all the tools that we learned in stages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we get to bring it to life in person. And so I'm in sovereign love. Exactly. It's showing up in sovereign love. Exactly. So I'm also going to put the form for that retreat in here. And this is for anybody who's in stage 4 or beyond in their journey right now. So for all of you that are leaning into these rite of passages, Elawan, will you also put the link to the program? Yeah, Metamorphosis. Yeah, beautiful. And yeah, I want to call you guys forward into doing some shares, because now we get to celebrate. We get to celebrate this whole journey, and we get to kind of feel into, you know, what initiation are we currently in? What rite of passage are we currently in? Where are we? What is our next level of evolution? And I would love to hear from you guys. Like, what does that look like for you? What is your next level of evolution? And I don't know if you want to also share. You can share some things with me. Okay, amazing. Okay, so does anyone want to share any reflections? I know we just had like so much come through with Mia and everything, but yeah, just really throughout the whole week, you know, what's alive for you? What's coming up for you? What's in your heart? You know, what do you know, what's real? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your shares, your journey. This is your chance to share and speak. Has anybody not spoken the entire event that feels called to speak? Has anyone kind of, even if you're doing other things like multitasking, has anyone kind of, you're spending your Friday night here, so you're obviously choosing to be here. I'm curious what it would mean to choose to really step in to your truth and to this energy of no longer hiding. You know, what does that look like for you? Erica, do you want to share?
Do I want to share? I don't know if I want to share, but I will go on the camera and say how thankful I am for all that you have, both you and Jessica have created. And it's, you know, I went to the last one, I think in March, and this one feels like even twice as powerful. And you know, every speaker and even in between each speaker, there's something that I'm sort of taking away that really resonates with me. And it's very, I don't know if validating is the right word, but affirming that sort of what I believe, what I sort of put out there is something that others sort of believe and, you know, support. And what I was trying to think the other day, like what makes this different than something else that I've done or listened to, and I think it's this. How do I explain it? It's this authentic realness. Like there isn't, or it doesn't feel like there is an ulterior sort of thing, right? Like it's not just, it's about life, it's about love, and it's about your journey versus something. Sometimes I feel like when I go to some of these things, it feels like I'm only seeing a part of someone versus the whole person. And I think like the people that come on here and the people, the participants, everyone is really like open and vulnerable. And I don't know, it just feels really good. There's probably a much better way to say all that. My daughter was listening to me on Monday night listening to this, and she's like, why don't you get on there, Mom? And I was like, I don't feel like I get into my groove until I've been talking for several minutes before I can say what I want to say. And so that was one reason I didn't want to take up space. But anyway, I really do want to say I appreciate it, and it really does resonate, and I think it's super powerful. And anyone that has the opportunity to sort of be in this community and be in this sort of space is going to learn something, is going to take something really impactful away. Yeah.
Beautiful. Erica, thank you so much. Can we all take ourselves off of mute and give Erica a big
Ashta, hey, Erica.
Yes. Taking yourself off of mute and letting yourself be seen. Thank you for sharing that. That was super special and so amazing to hear, and to hear that reflection. Thank you. Okay. Who else would like to share? Who else has something on their hearts? Let's see. Does anyone feel like taking themselves off of mute? This is your opportunity to let yourself be heard, to share your truth. Okay. Edwin, do you feel the call to take yourself off of mute and share?
I mean, I enjoyed this for the most part. I mean, if I had to be truthful, the incident that happened earlier during the week, I feel like maybe it put a bad taste in my mouth, or I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly, but I didn't feel really connected to like the group afterwards towards that.
When you had that message in the chat that
yeah, I don't know, I kind of felt like some maybe assumptions and everything was kind of being made, and I just didn't feel real connected. So
can I ask you what brought you back?
because for the most part it was great information. So I love to learn. So it was the coaches they're really providing value to me. So that's what really kept me coming back.
I love that. And I loved it. You know, in that moment, it brought up such an important conversation forward. And I know that it's always challenging being like, kind of like the example, right? It was like being, you know, you had an attack, you know, you were being attacked in that moment in a way. And in these places, it's almost like, how do we let other people have their experience without taking responsibility for it or not taking it personally? And remembering every single person in this world is experiencing life through their own eyes and their own traumas and their own perception. And so sometimes it's not about you. Sometimes it's about the person who's speaking it. Like there's so many people that have so many opinions about everything, you know? Everybody has an opinion about something. And so when somebody shows up in that way, you have the opportunity to be like, I know who the fuck I am. You know, I know who I am. I know how I show up in the world. And you have the chance to show who you really are in that moment. And sometimes we get this desire to want to hide or to even want to reject. I reject these people. I reject this container. I don't resonate. They don't like me, right? We get this feeling that we're not liked. We're like, oh my God, these people probably hate me now because of this thing. And that's not true, you know? No, and what you did in that moment and this whole situation brought forward a conversation that we all needed to have and we're gonna keep having inside of the container. It's like this is the journey of the blame and the shame game, you know? This is what it means to operate in victimhood, and then there's the out of victimhood, which is like, I know who the fuck I am. I love humans. You know, I'm not gonna come on here and, you know, make you feel whatever, and that's up to you to feel, you know, it's you and you know who you are, you know, you don't have to. Yeah, so I just want to kind of put that out there that you are so loved and nobody is rejecting you and you're so cared for. And I really acknowledge you for showing up day after day and maybe even showing up carrying that feeling inside of rejection or wanting to reject, being like, these aren't my people, you know, because sometimes that's how we feel when stuff happens, you know. I've done that in partnerships a lot. When I'm dating someone and I'm in love and then something happens and then I'm like, and then I'm like, I'm rejecting them. And I go into this whole pattern and this whole spiral. And we do that all the time as humans, you know, we do that all the time. And what we really want is to be loved for who we are at our core. And that's why I called that forward so strongly. It was like, you know, it's like we could hide it and not acknowledge it and pretend it doesn't exist. Or we can shine light on it and share how every single day that happens to somebody. You know, every single day somebody is feeling attacked for something that they didn't do, you know, based on someone else's reality. Or, you know, someone could feel every single day unsafe to even walk into a room. I don't feel safe because someone's going to hit on me. Someone's going to take advantage of me. Someone is going to destroy me. And therefore, I don't even want to show up. That's the other side of it. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be acknowledged in a space. I don't want anything. So this was so important to bring forward. And yeah, I just want to acknowledge you for continuing to show up here every single day and shining your light, because we see you dancing in there on the sides and like, you know, you're showing up every day and it's amazing. And I appreciate you for that. Yeah. Can we all take ourselves off mute and rub our palms together and give Edwin a big
Ashtahay, Edwin. Ashtahay, brother.
Ashtahay. Ashtahay. Yay. It's so good. Okay, Kelly, do you want to share? I saw you take yourself off mute. I wasn't sure. Okay. Who else would like to share? Michael or Heather? Can't tell.
I wanted to just give a quick shout out, Edwin. That was some real king frequencies for you to step up just now and to share how it's been for you. You know, I heard about what happened after the fact, and it's a man thing. Those things happen to us sometimes as men, and the fact that you're here all this week showing up and that you spoke to it just now, that tells me I really trust you and your frequencies, because I trust that your authenticity is real. Thank you, my good friend, if I may call you that.
I love that. And I'm even going to take it a step further, piggybacking off of that. The fact that you show up here means you're here for the growth. You're willing to go beyond the challenge, and you're willing to kind of move through it into growth. And that's beautiful, because a lot of people would have backed out immediately. A lot of people wouldn't have shown up and kept coming back, and you knew there was medicine for you. So you continued to come up, you continue to show up for yourself. And yeah, I really honor you for that. That is the king frequency, you know, showing up anyways, being with it, being in the fire. Super powerful. It's good. Yeah. Okay. All right. Who else would like to share? Who else has something inside that they're like, oh, I want to say this out loud. I want to share. Kelly, I see you off mute. Do you want to share?
Yes, I do. I wasn't going to allow what happened that night to stop me from continuing with this course. I just didn't feel it was right. And I apologize to Edwin as well as everyone else. You know, we all go through struggles, and sometimes we make assumptions about people based on how we've been treated in the past. And I apologize to everyone, Edwin, for my part in that. I just want you all to know that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I just want to really honor you for saying something. I know that sometimes it's really hard to feel safe when we already have had this experience of, I'm not safe, or I feel like my boundaries are crossed. Like that experience lives in our bodies. Like, I feel like my boundaries are crossed. That's real for us, inside of us. And you're so brave for coming on. I know, there's been so many moments where you could have talked and maybe you didn't for whatever reason, but I'm so grateful that you brought your voice into this. And just as much as we're honoring Edwin for showing up, like, you are a queen for continuing to show up too. And for coming into that state of understanding, like, where you get to have humility. But fucking amazing. That's so beautiful. And please know that we always want you to feel safe as your sisters. Like, that's super important to us. And so I just want to applaud you for holding yourself. Like, you are holding your inner child, you're holding your queen, you're holding everything, and you're also showing up. And I think you're so brave. And I'm really glad that you keep coming back, because I've been seeing your connection and I've been seeing your face every single day. And I've been feeling you in this chat, and I feel your presence. Like, even if your camera's on, I feel you. I feel you here. And it's been impactful for this whole container. So thank you so much. I'm proud of you. I really am.
Yay, amazing. And, I also want to call forward, Kelly, that, a lot of times in these situations, we want to go into our protector. And so your inner mother came online super strongly of like, I want to protect myself. I want to protect the container. And it's also beautiful to have that quality. It's like, I have that too. It's like this divine mother who's just like, I want to protect my kids, and it's that mama bear energy, and it's a great quality to have. So don't ever lose that. It's super special. And some people don't speak up, and they have that witch wound, and they don't share their voice. So it's also very powerful to let yourself be heard. And that is the medicine, speaking your truth, and also having the humility when there is assumptions being made. And so there's medicine in this whole experience. So I am grateful that it was brought forward. And, it's easy to come to these workshops and these retreats and just kind of like passively listen. But it's another thing to literally have something come up and to work through it in real time, and to see where all of our gifts and our shadows lie, and to have those reflected back and be like, this is the work. This is why I'm here. Where else do I see this in my life? And where else where do I show up for it, and where do I not show up for it? And this is the medicine. This is powerful. So you guys are both so amazing for being here and for doing that. Can we all take ourselves off mute and give Kelly Renee a big ashtahe? Ashtahe?
Ashtahe.
Sure.
I am blown away by the both of you tonight, because what what you have brought into our container is a snapshot of our future world, of our new earth. This is how we roll, y'all. This is like so powerful that we move past those wounds and we move past those things that they've damaged us and we're traumatized, and to like shake that trauma off and no longer claim that wound from this place, like Jessica just says, compassion and humility and honoring each other. I am in total fucking awe of both of you and of this container, and Chelsea and Jessica Daly, Eloan, putting this all, Stephen Qual, all of you putting this together. This is fucking revolutionary. It's amazing. Thank you. And really, thank you, both of you that showed up, two strangers in the night with a little misunderstanding as it turns in. Amazing.
These are the codes. Yeah. Can we give Michael and Ashna a hand?
Usher.
We love you. Oh. All right, Eloan, did you want to share something? No. Okay, I saw your hand go up. Okay, amazing. All right. We got a few more people. We've got Thomas. Do you want to share anything? I'd love to hear from you. It's so good to hear your voice, if you'd like. No. Okay. You can change your mind if you'd like. We would love to hear from you. We would love to hear from you. Okay, amazing. Okay, and I know Caitlin and Melina, you guys are in the frequency of sharing. Do you guys have anything that you want to share? I know you guys are deep in this experience. Yeah. Okay. Just making sure that we're hearing from everybody. Yay, thank you. I love it. Amazing. And Heather, has Heather shared? Has she shared? Heather, have you shared?
I've shared a couple times.
Yeah, but you should share more. I love it.
I'll say in these containers, usually when I share, I end up crying, and I just applied some mascara, so I can't get too deep. But no, I'm just super grateful for finding these types of communities and this one especially. And yeah, I'm just curious to keep on the path, keep on trucking, keep on expanding and growing. And it's just been, I think I shared, I feel like I'm crawling out of the dark night of the soul. It's been happening for the last 11 months. And it's been a long, heavy one. And so I'm just looking forward to getting to know myself more and yeah, just diving into these communities. And I think I was in a phase of isolation for a while. Like, I gotta do this on my own, and I didn't want to, show all of the bad parts, all of the hurt parts, and the more I share, like, I just feel like the power of vulnerability, and like I see how it's rippling in my life and with my family, and like them starting to explore themselves more, and just like it's just been so beautiful. Like I feel like I've had more honesty with like people close in my life, even my best friend, in the last year than I've never had before. So just trying to really step into my authentic self, and I'm still figuring out, my dharma, or what that is. But I think I'm on the path, and just keep listening to the whispers of the heart. And yeah, it's been an awesome week. I've had a lot of downloads, and I'm just can't wait to start integrating, and yeah, hopefully see more of you all in the future. I'm still on the fence about, the metamorphosis journey. I feel like I do this, I like join some community and I'm like, I want to go all in. And then I just always, like, at the last minute, step back and I don't know what that is yet. I don't know what that fear is yet. So I've got some meditating to do, some praying to do, but regardless, this week's been super impactful. And yeah, thank you all for your time and energy and just holding space, and much love.
Thank you so much, Heather. And I love your whole journey. And yeah, the soul searcher, it feels like you're like initiating into the soul searcher and really diving into that self-love, self-acceptance journey. And it is so beautiful. It's so important. And yeah, I really hope we get to see more of you, because there's so much depth in this whole process. And it's really nice being held. Can we all take ourselves off of mute and rub our palms together and give Heather a big
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Love it. Yeah, and we can also talk after. If you have any questions come through, we can answer those questions and kind of give a little bit more structure and understanding if that's needed. Yeah. Yay. Melina, do you want to share?
Okay, hello. I'm very grateful for this in this container. I'm started in the metamorphosis 2 months, actually 2 months, and I'm so blessed because of these people and openness who shows my English a little bit not good. So I'm very grateful for this. Very grateful.
Thank you so much, Melina. And yes, Melina is part of our Metamorphosis program, and we are so grateful to have you. Can we all rub our palms together and give Melina a big
Ashtahay.
Good.
Melina, you rock. We had the breakout and your mic didn't work, and we still got through a beautiful session with communicating new ways. I love the way that you adapted to that with me. That was powerful. Thank you.
So cute.
Thank you.
Oh, yay. And is Caitlin here? Caitlin, do you feel called to take yourself off of mute? Okay, it's okay if not. Okay, amazing. And Tor, do you want to speak, Tor? Tori? I know you were texting me all week with your shares, so we got to hear some. Okay, amazing. Okay, so everybody. Oh, Tor, you're here. Okay.
Cooking dinner. Hope y'all are hungry. Anyways, yeah, this was an amazing week. It was awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's interesting. I feel like I'm actually really triggered though, like at this one. Like it was amazing. And I'm just going through the stages of feeling super empowered, but then also really fucking triggered because it's like the deep shadow work of where I'm not meeting myself in order to do the work to like accomplish things that I want to accomplish. And so it's like, yeah, it was just, yeah, it's been challenging, you know. This is just like the deepest I'm ever meeting myself, but I'm really grateful for this program because it's really highlighting these areas. and it's not really, it's like I've already known about them, but it's actually giving me tools and resources that I can now use to get out of these mindsets and to make the next step. And so that's what I'm just really thankful for. Yeah. So
Tor, sharing, and I know you've really been messaging and kind of really sharing each day. I love it. And I know you're in such a process. And I really love what you just shared. Like you're meeting yourself deeper than you've ever gone. And now you have the tools. And that's literally the whole purpose is like life is always going to happen, right? Everything is always happening. And how do we hold our center in the middle of the hurricane and use the tools to be able to say, great, this is what life is bringing me. How do I show up for it? And how do I process it? And, you know, and become that like magnetic frequency. So we start attracting more of the things that we truly want. And I freaking love that you're showing up for yourself like this. I'm grateful for you for being here during this journey, during these 5 days. Like, this is huge. This is so huge. I'm really, yeah, this is important. And I love you so much.
Love you. Yay. Love you guys. Thank you.
We all take ourselves off mute and give Tori a big ashtahay.
Ashtahay.
Love you guys. It's so great to do this program with you.
Yes, I love it. I like it.
You know, I my mic's still on. So when Mia Magic was talking about the witch wound and how it hit in the throat, and so many of us have not the ability, let alone to sing or perform, but to even utter our truth. This witch wound and this wounding in our ability to talk is a cry. And when we finally start to open our ability to move our throat, to sing. I went to 2 retreats a few years back that were specifically for singing and releasing the singing. We cried 55-gallon buckets of tears as a collective that weekend. I could not believe how deeply I was moved by the courage and by the release of finally, Lord Almighty, finally finding our voice. And so when we go through our troubles and our things pop up and our insecurities and like, oh my, I'm not a good enough musician. I'm not a good enough singer. I am a singer and a musician, by the way. I'm actually trained, but those things come up to me and like, how do I move past that? And it's like freeing ourselves from that wound is so important in our healing journey, because when we free ourselves, then we can also free our loved ones.
Yeah, Michael, I love that. And you always bring me into the deepest places. Yeah, I think that on that note, that's also why this journey is about sovereignty, because it's about really taking full responsibility for our experience and not taking responsibility for the experience of other people. Knowing we have an impact, but not taking the responsibility. And this is really important because sometimes when we share our truth and it's not received, or there's backlash, or there's this stuff, we're like, it's not safe to speak my truth anymore. And really the journey of sovereignty is about showing up anyway, speaking your truth, and knowing where that truth comes from, if it's coming from love or if it's coming from fear, sharing it. And then whatever happens beyond that, this is the universe. This is just the reaction. And we don't have to take responsibility for that. We're literally in our truth. And it is really important to acknowledge the difference. And this is where the work is. And this is why it's a journey of sovereignty. That's why this whole thing was specifically about stepping into your power and your sovereignty. Because all of these things all come back to that in the end. That's where it all relates. This is how we step into God frequency. We are God, This is how we remember and recognize and live it out. Yay! Wow, what a week. What a week. What an amazing experience. This is definitely one of the best ones that we've had. We hit that place. We got there. This was so good. And I really appreciate every single one of you for being here, for trusting us, for showing up, for being raw and authentic and real, for being vulnerable, and for doing the work. It's not easy coming here, especially on a Friday night and being like, yeah, I'm going to do more personal growth. And you're like, no, I'm here for it. I'm going to do it. This is what I live for. I'm so devoted to the path. I'm so dedicated to this. That's where the transformation happens. Like there's no other way that you would be here right now unless you were also fully aligned with that. It's a frequency and you guys nail it. You really do. It's so good. And I'm really grateful. Yeah, the delusional devotion. Does anyone else have anything that they want to share before we officially close our spring 2023 emergence? We're not going to have the next one until towards the end of the fall, after our retreat. Yeah.
Hey, I just want to say thank you. That's all. I appreciate everyone for being here. I appreciate this emergence. It's been amazing. And that's all I want to say. It's much gratitude for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's so good. It's so beautiful. Okay. So in chrysalis fashion. Oh, Jess, you want to say? Okay.
I just want to call forward one more person tonight that needs to be thanked, that needs to be acknowledged, that deserves to be thanked and acknowledged, because she has been the backbone of this company and this vision holder and this leader that has brought us all together and has carried the torch when all of us have felt the confusion or the lack of being able to hold it. She has held it. She has always held it. And she's always been the belief system to bring us here. And she has brought us all together. And she's given so much of her medicine. And she's empowered me personally so fucking much in my life. Like, I literally am not the same person at all without knowing this woman. And I know she's done that for so many people. Chelsea Zerna. I want all of us to take ourselves off of me, please. And give her a big Ashe. Rub our hands together. Rub our hands together.
Nice and hot.
Chelsea's in a big Ashe. 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 Ashe.
Thank you for laying that out, Jessica. That is so true. Chelsea, this is so sacred.
Yes, one more time. One more thing. But oh, do you want to say something first, and then I'll say it, and then I'll say it? Are you sure? You acknowledge impact? Acknowledge impact. Okay. No, I want you to acknowledge impact.
Okay, yeah. It feels so good receiving that, the Ashe. I forget what it feels like on the other side. And yeah, I'm really grateful for you guys. I really feel just so grateful. And yeah, I feel like, yeah, it's not always easy, holding an unwavering belief. And sometimes that belief wavers. And so it's beautiful. It's taken, we've been doing this for 3 years. It's taken us so much energy to pull these visions from the ethers and to put this together in the way that we have with so much intentionality. And yeah, I also, I want to thank the fairy godmother of the chrysalis, which is Amethyst. She's definitely been there. I've personified this dancing woman inside of this chrysalis with these ballerina slippers, and she's just like the wisdom keeper of the whole thing. And I'm really grateful for her, even though she's not like a living entity, she's like kind of is. And yeah, I feel her. So I'm just gonna send that back up to her and thank her for this whole experience.
And before we close, I just want to say one more thing, which is that if you love this, if you liked 5 days of this, imagine doing this for a year with us and jumping into what this could be like to do every week on Wednesdays and getting into the course, because that's what we're doing in Metamorphosis. And we want to keep doing this work with you. We really do. Each one of you guys that spoke, like, you're in our hearts already. You're a part of this community. You're connected to this mission and this vision. And it wouldn't be the same without you moving forward into this year. You are the people that we want to spend our year with. So please consider it and jump on a call with us. Let's talk about what it means to do this together for a whole year, because our lives will change. All of our lives will change. My life will change being in the container with you. Chelsea's life will change. All of our lives will change for the better. And I really think that that's a mission worth having this year and making a commitment to that. So please, I'm going to put, Elwin, you can put it in the chat one more time. If you're on the fence, just send us a message and let's just get on a call. Let's talk, really, because it's worth it to take this leap of faith to do this for a year, for a whole year.
Okay. So on that note, can we all take ourselves off mute and rub our palms together for one last time in this spring immersion? Can we give every single person, every single coach, every single participant, every single human in this world, and can we just give them a big ashton?
Oh, sure.
Love your sacred mirror.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your experience. We really hope to see you more. And we love you. We love you. We love you. Ashtahay. See you soon.